Hi. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Yeah. Yesterday, a conversation that we have had on this radio broadcast in the past came to life. Lonzo and I have discussed with you, dear listener, many times over the show, the concept of the self-checkout lane at the grocery store. I am very much in favor of the self-checkout lane.
I am not.
Lonzo is not. And
Hey, man, you're paid to be there. I don't work there. Why am I doing the labor? You come and do, this is your job. You've been hired to do the thing, so do the thing. Don't be standing over there going, wow, they look like they're having trouble. No, you come ring my stuff up. That's what I've been a cashier before, so I'm not insensitive to it. But sorry, if I want to do my own thing, I'm going to do my own thing. I go somewhere, I expect, the people who work there to do what they're there to do.
So I get it. I understand that I am doing a job.
Yeah, you're doing labor.
But
you're doing labor that someone else is paid to do.
At the same time, no, they're not paying anyone else to do it.
They are, though.
I understand.
And you are allowing, helping. There's a word there that I just can't. Empowering, enabling. That's the word. You're enabling laziness by going to the self-checkout.
No, what you're enabling is for, and let's go off the rails before I even get to where I'm driving here. What you're enabling is a corporate structure that allows them to minimize the amount of money they're paying out, therefore allowing them to maximize profits, raising the prices of the goods that you are purchasing while actually having to give out less money. All you're doing is helping them build up their profit margin.
Whilst. I was so happy I was going to get to use the word again, and then I hit that board really hard.
You really did, man.
I did.
I feel like if I did that, you'd have freaked out.
Well, I have a couple fingers that are tingling right now because of what I just did. You're also causing unemployment to go up. So, I mean, if that's what you want, I mean that's fine.
No, don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
It's just like cleaning up the table.
Don't you put
at
that
the
on
restaurant. Me. Someone is hired to do that. Let them do their job. Because if you continue to do it, well, then they don't need to do that anymore.
Again, all fair points. I'm good with all of that. Counter argument, the self-checkout lane allows me to rapidly get done and not talk to someone. So, column A, column B, which one do you like? But that's not where I'm driving with this. Where I'm driving with this is a thing happened yesterday. And for those of you that follow me on Twitter or Instagram at The Rob Brown Show, you've already heard this.
Did you put it on Threads?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I've made one tweet on Threads and I haven't been back.
All right, I was just curious.
I'm not saying I won't make the switch over.
No, I'm just, this is more of you are my sample size for this, or you're the only one I know who's on it. And I'm curious if everyone else is treating it the same way you are.
I get the impression, but I could be wrong. We'll come back to Threads later. No, we won't. Maybe we will. We'll see. So yesterday, I went to a local goods facilitator. You good over there, man? You did a little Bruce Lee on that board.
When you get older and you hit things,
Okay.
When I was younger, I'd have bounced back from that. Now I might need a splint.
So yesterday, I went to the store. And I had to get a handful of items. Now, when I say a handful of items, for instance, I picked up 24 of the carbonated water you guys have seen me drink on the stream before. So there were 24 bottles of water.
Yeah!
I had to pick up 3 different packages of dog food.
What?
I had to pick up 6 different packages of cat food.
What?
I had to pick up snacks.
What?
I had to pick up sodas.
What?
I had to pick up chips.
What?
I had to pick up queso.
What?
I had to pick up dinner.
What?
So I walked out of there with just a bunch of stuff. Most of it little, You know, beep, 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 quick stuff to scan, throw it in the bag, moving on. I'm not even organizing the bags, right? Like ordinarily be like, all right, all the frozen stuff in this bag, all the pet stuff in this bag, snack stuff in this bag. So that when I get to the house, when I open up a bag, I'm like, all right, this is all the dog stuff. It goes over here. This is all the frozen stuff. Let me take this bag to the freezer. It just facilitates the organizational process. I wasn't even doing that because of how much stuff I had in the self-checkout lane, and I didn't want to eat up a register for 30 minutes, right? So I go through, I scan, beep, 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 into the bag, throw it in the cart. I go to leave. And as I'm pushing the cart, or as I've been corrected many times, buggy, out of the store, before I get to the door, over comes the lady, the very nice lady, very polite lady, older lady, probably in her early 70s. She needs a job, man. She either needs to work or is just bored at home and wants to work. But her job is to do what? Sir, may I check your receipt, please? And Rob.
Gee, I wonder where he was.
I'm not going to say.
There's only one place that does that.
No, there's not.
In my experience, I've only been to one place that does that.
As a frequent user of the self-checkout lane. And I don't know if I'm like putting off a vibe I don't want to put out, because I get asked to have my receipt checked every store I'm in.
There's some shadiness, man.
Am I putting out a vibe?
Yeah, I mean, well, you have said you want to go to self-checkout because you don't want to talk to people, and that's like totally against your character. So when you're not being you might look a little shady.
Maybe. I mean, I do have RBF, right? When I'm ready to be home. And if I'm in a store, I don't want to be in the store. I want to be done with this. I go in, I have my list, knock it out, get all the stuff, check it out. I want to be back home.
As someone who has been followed most of their lives by security, and
is it because we're big?
I don't know. I do look
sturdy. Sorry, are we? Is it because we're sturdy?
We're Vlad Guerrero's sturdy. But no, I've been followed to the point where actually I worked in grocery for a long time, so I know what the tendencies for security is. So I will walk right up to those people who are following me and ask, will they help me find something? And they say, well, I don't work here. And I say, sure you don't. Can you help me find this? But this is the truth. I have been followed. There was 1 year at the mall in Ohio. They followed me into every single store. And I didn't have long hair then. I think it's my eyes or something, or they're bored. I don't know what it is, but maybe you gave off vibes that made them think not necessarily that you're a thief, but that you're annoyed to be there. So they were going to make sure that you had to stay there a little bit longer.
I don't know. So I get my stuff, I bag it up, I put it in the cart, I start leaving. The lady walks over. She's like, hey, sir, can I check your receipt? Now, in fairness, she posed it as a question. I'll come back to that in a second. Rob Brown, as I've said on the show, and I know a lot of you guys don't believe me when I say this, but you can verify this with the great one. I don't like conflict and confrontation. I avoid it. I wish I didn't. I very frequently refer to myself as a wuss. I don't like confrontation.
He's gonna explode at some point. You keep all that bottled in.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. What's that movie? Is it
Falling Down?
No. Is that the one where he like walks across LA after getting stuck in traffic, just murdering everybody that ticks him off? You know what movie I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I didn't. Maybe there was murder in it.
Doesn't matter. So, because
was it Michael Douglas? Because the one I'm thinking of is Michael
remember.
Douglas.
Yeah. Because I avoid conflict and confrontation, even when I'm literally working on it, right? She walks up. She's like, can I check your receipt? I'm like, because I know this is going to be an ordeal. I got like 72 items in the buggy. And even though a lot of them are duplicates, I've encountered this lady before. She looks at every bleeping item on the receipt, every one of them. So I'm like, yeah. I said, I'm kind of in a hurry, but sure. And she takes the receipt. She starts going line by line. Okay. And she counts, for instance, the waters. You buy the waters individually. There's 24 of them. There's 24 waters. She counts them off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
You're
Come on,
not-
can you count by 2?
I was
Can you
going to
count by
say,
2s?
you're not
2,
going
4,
to count
6,
to
8, 10.
24, are you?
Can
Okay.
you be done twice as fast? Can you count by 3s? I know that's upper level math. Can you go by 3s? 24 is divisible. Can you go by 3? So she gets there and then she counts the waters in the buggy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, then she goes, we got like the cat's got to have his wet food or else he won't eat, right? So I got like 5 trays of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 6 minutes. This lady is going line by line on my receipt. Now, that's not the story. The story is what happened. The story is the guy next to me. While she's going over my receipt, there's another guy who comes through the self-checkout line. He's probably got 15 items, right? And he puts it all in the bags. He puts it in the buggy. And as he's walking out, there's another lady doing the same thing. And she goes, "Sir, may I check your receipt?" And he says, and I'm quote, "No, I'm good." And then walks away. "Sir, can I check your receipt?" "No, I'm good." And gone. Doesn't look back. Doesn't hesitate. Doesn't break his stride. This American hero just gone out the door. Just gone. And the lady does nothing. She doesn't go, "Sir, wait, you have to let me." She doesn't grab the buggy. She doesn't detain. She doesn't call the cops. She doesn't have a SWAT team come through the roof.
Yeah, if you
she
do-
doesn't pull a bazooka.
You do that kind of stuff, you get fired. They're not allowed to be confrontational.
She does nothing. She just watches the guy walk away. And when he walks out the door, you know what she does? She turns around. She looks for the next guy coming out of self-checkout and goes, "Sir, can I check your receipt?" Like, you can just do that? You can just say no? You just be like, "Nope, sorry." So I put this video up on social media. I turned into a true millennial, Zoe, because I did my first front seat of my car in the parking lot social media video. Never done that before. And I posted up on Twitter. And again, I acknowledge that even knowing you can do that, I'm probably still not going to do it because I'm not a confrontation
Right.
guy.
You're not. Yeah. All this leads to you're still going
I'm
to be.
still going
She's
to probably do it.
maybe go to a different store.
I can't. This one's 2 minutes from my house. It's
Oh,
it's the easiest one.
So it's
To get to any other
convenient for
grocery
you.
store, I
To,
got to go past this one.
okay. All
The
right.
time that I lose by letting lady go 1, 2, 3, 4, I would lose if I go. The next grocery store is like another 4 minutes down the road.
Drive faster.
So my question is, here's the thought I had. Let me give you the thought, and then I'll ask the question. The thought I had was this. I go up to the self-checkout, beep, 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 beep. I scan everything. I put my card in the machine, right? I swipe the card. The card thing is accepted, and it gives me my receipt for my groceries. Once I have that receipt, that is an official record that I have traded you my money for your goods. These goods now belong to me. You have my money. I have these goods. We are done here. And so when I leave, right? When I leave and you go, "Sir, can I check your stuff?" You are literally asking to go through my stuff, right? Now, I understand it's to stop people who would be dishonest and shoplift. And I understand that. I get that, right? I understand that they're trying to protect themselves. But here's the thing, and this is where I kind of went, this is what Lonzo means. If you do not trust me and everyone else to correctly ring up, bag, and remove our items from your store without stealing, do you know what you can and should do? Hire someone to do that job, right? By creating a self-checkout lane, you have built an unspoken verbal agreement between your store and me, the customer, that says, "Hey, we trust you to select the items that you wish to purchase from our store, to ring up those items, to pay for those items, to bag those items and leave without us having to do the work." But if you don't trust me to do that without robbing you, then put a cashier in, right? Then put a cashier in. Put someone at a register who goes through every item in my cart to make sure that everything is rung up, accounted for, and paid for. You can't have it both ways, right? So now I wonder, am I going, because the thing is, I'm not going to have to go back to the store for probably a week, right? So for the next week, I'm going to think about that American hero. Sir, can I check your receipt? No, I'm good. I'm going to think about that guy. And the next time I leave that store and I get hit with, sir, can I check your receipt? There's one of three ways it goes. Way number one is I go, yeah, I'm a wuss. Here you go. I'm not going to do anything about this. Way number two is I go, I'm in a hurry. I'm sorry. I don't have time for this. And way number three is I go, nah, I'm good. And bounce. Just gone. Don't even break stride, right? I can tell you the middle one's probably the way I go now. The middle one. Hey, I'm in a hurry. I'm sorry. I don't have time for this. Joey B hit it up earlier with the strategy of, let's see. I tell them I was in a hurry, and unless they think I stole something, I'll be on my way. If they tell me they think I stole something, I'll return every single item I bought and never come back. And I think I can go that direction, right?
Yeah,
like,
but that's
the deal. I didn't take anything. If you want to accuse me of stealing something, if you want to accuse me, I will 100% let you check this. But know that you are accusing me of stealing, and I'm not going to be good with that. So you can either accuse me of stealing something, and then I'll absolutely let you check my stuff. And when you are wrong, then we'll have a discussion, me and your manager.
You're not going to do that.
Let me bounce
because that's confrontational. And you just talked about that is confrontational. If you fill out that scenario, then you're being confrontational. There's a couple other things you could do. One, when you get there, go find her and ask her to come help you check out your groceries, because then she won't.
That's not bad.
Then she won't have to check them again because she helps you.
Would you like to stand here and watch me beep everything in the cart so that you don't have to stop me on my way out?
Yeah, because when I'm leaving, I'm trying to leave, or walk really fast and don't make eye contact, which, by the way,
somebody hit me yesterday.
Does work. It does work.
Just ignore. Don't respond.
Yeah.
Can I check your receipt?
It goes against your nature to ignore people, though. So
it does.
Look the opposite direction and go.
You know what I might do? I might just pop the earbuds in.
There you go.
After I'm done checking out, just pop the earbuds in, pretend I'm on the phone, and go.
There you go.
Right?
Something else I'm curious. When you go grocery shopping with somebody else, does it still happen?
No, now that I think about it,
okay.
It doesn't.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Like, Lonzo's right. I avoid confrontation, but I can say I avoid confrontation until confrontation is unavoidable, right? Quick point. When we went up to see the Phantom of the Opera back in March on Broadway, last time we're getting that chance, right? It was closing 2 weeks later. We're sitting there and we got into a conversation with the lady behind us before the play starts. She's like, I've loved this play since I was a little girl. I can't wait to see it live. We're like, great. And we realized 2 songs into a musical, a play that's all songs, 2 plays into the musical, she's behind us on the Broadway play singing every word to every song. And I'm like, no. We get to song number 3. We're halfway through song number 3. And this lady's behind us singing. Not, Lonzo, when I'm not talking like, she is singing the words out loud.
Was she good?
No.
Okay.
But even if she was, you know who's better? The people on Broadway. That's why they are on Broadway.
Maybe she hadn't gotten her break
No!
yet. I won't automatically go, those people are better than you, because I've heard people in the crowd sing better than the people on the stage.
If I spend money this is not a friggin' Def Leppard concert. If I spend money to watch a Broadway play, I want to see the people doing the play, not hear from you. So we get 3 songs in. The song comes to its conclusion. I wait until the song peters down a little bit. And I turn around and I'm like, ma'am, respectfully, you're louder than the play. Could I please ask you to stop singing? And she just stares at me like I'm Satan. So I turn back around.
I would have stared at you the same way.
Why? Because I asked you to shut the hell up for a thing I paid like a paycheck to see? Right? This is not your kid's 4th grade play. I paid more money than I'm willing to admit publicly to bring my fiance to see our favorite thing together on Broadway 2 weeks before it closes. No, I don't need Nancy from New Jersey singing in my ear.
Sounds
need it.
sounds like an entitled 1%er attitude.
No, the entitled person is the person who goes to a Broadway musical and goes, you know what? I think everybody would rather hear me than the people on Broadway. No, knock it off. So we get to like 5 songs in. She starts singing again. Turn around. I'm like, ma'am, I'm trying very much to be respectful. Could you please not sing? You are louder than the actors. To which the husband leans over and he's like, hey, do we have a problem? And this is where I'm like, I have a decision to make, right? I have a decision to make. Decision 1 is escalate the confrontation. Decision 2 is ignore it. I know if I ignore it, she's not going to stop singing. At this point, the fiance is cutting eyes to me like, if you don't end this, I will. And if she pops off, we all go into jail. All right?
That's probably true.
Yeah,
probably.
If there's a confrontation in the Casa de Love between us and somebody else, she's ending it, not me. I might be the one getting in the fight, but she's ending it, right? So she's cut me the eyes. I turn around. I'm like, ma'am, could you stop? The guy's like, is there a problem? I'm like, respectfully, sir, she is singing. We can hear her over the actors. And he leans back and he whispers something to her. Now, there's only 2 things he can whisper. He's either like, hey, honey, he's right. I need you to tone it down. Or, hey, if he says anything else, I'm going to beat his ass in the parking lot. Your pick, right? So we get to the intermission, and I'm like, let me go grab a glass of Merlot. Let me go get a nice Cabernet, chill and get some fresh air for just a minute, because when I come back, I'm going to have to say something to this lady, right? I come back. I get back to the chair. She's walking back up. The usher walks over and announces to the whole section, ladies and gentlemen, we have been told by a couple of audience members that there are people singing in the section. Respectfully, please leave the singing to the Broadway actors and keep your noise to a minimum. I'm like, word. Somebody said something to the usher. We're good here. We got 2 songs into the second act. She's singing again. I turn around. I'm like, ma'am, I'm not going to ask again. If you keep singing, I'm going to have to ask the ushers to ask you to leave. Please stop. She says, bleep you, and sits back in her chair. And I'm like, oh, word? All right, cool. But we get to the next song. She's not singing, Lonzo. She's not singing. Instead, what do I hear? How do you hum? How do you hum louder than an actor with a microphone?
All right,
how do you hum?
You have reached the point where you're attuned to anything she's doing. And this is
because she can't do it.
Or some people may not know this, but Rob also a producer, and a producer does that sort of thing. So you went into producer mode and you could not unfocus on her.
No, keep talking. I'm not bothering you.
So the thing is, so what Rob did is he decided that his opportunity to see this play was greater than the person behind him. And so he caused a problem for her, ruined her experience. To the point where, she might have needed therapy, could have caused a rift between her and her husband.
Good. I hope they divorce.
Dude, come on.
I hope he said to her, honey, he's right. You need to keep it down. She didn't keep it down. They got out and he's like, I can't do this anymore, Deborah. I'm done with this, Deb. You're so thoughtless and selfish. I'm done with you. I'm out. Find your way back to Jersey. Here's my Metro card.
I like how they're automatically from Jersey, unless you heard
they
them
weren't
talk.
from Jersey. They told us they were from Jersey.
So you talked to them beforehand, and then they thought you were friends. So then they found out that you were not.
My seeing that play was not more important than anyone else seeing that play. My enjoying that play is. All you had to do to enjoy the play equally with me is shut the hell up. No one paid hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to listen to you sing crap karaoke, Debbie. Nobody did it. All right, we got to take a break. I like we realized that at the same time. Anyway, self-checkout registers. Are we good with it? Are you telling Receipt Checker? Are you telling Receipt Checker that they may or may not check your bag? What's the play there? Can I, next time I'm in that store, just go, no, I'm good, and bounce before they look at my bags? Or do I have to let her spend 6 minutes going through my stuff before I can go home?
Damn, son, that is one compelling argument.
Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. in the fan upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, got a live read right here. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
Years. Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic. ZipRecruiter helps you find
All right, so I went in and took us out of and put us back on because Rob seems pretty angry today, and you guys seem to be fueling that, and I can't believe you're doing that. Why are you fueling that anger? I mean, come on. I guess it's worse than when people are talking in the movie theater because you're probably not spending as much money as he did on that. But I don't know. Hey, as long as it's not directed at me, I don't care. So when we go to a store where they check the receipt, I don't believe they actually check the receipt. I just stand there and smile and look at the person who's doing it going, they're just pretending to check the receipt. They're not actually looking. And you're right, James, they're not. I don't think for the most part they're actually looking. What if this person knows who Rob is? I mean, there's always that possibility that she knows who he is and she's doing it on purpose. In which case, I think it's hilarious because it's trolling. But they stop us even when we don't go through self-checkout. And I'm guessing that because everything is on camera somewhere at stores, that if they don't check a certain amount, that they probably will be let go. And if I'm going to check a certain person that I check all the time because they come in frequently and they don't cause a problem, I'm going to go for that
You're
person.
looking for the dude who's not going to say no.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
Right. Because everything is filmed and on just like, I mean, because of shoplifting, it's just like when you do self-checkout, you can see yourself doing the self-checkout, at least where I go, because the camera is on you the whole time.
All right, let me go through all. Y'all are blowing up the stream, and I'm here for it, baby. Somebody's getting a big boot. I would have leg dropped Deborah, Karen, Suzanne, whatever her name was. I'd have leg dropped her so fast.
Suzanne. Obviously a Suzanne.
Yes, that's it. If you don't trust me to check out my stuff, then pay someone to check out my stuff for me. She can't legally do anything. Legally, she cannot stop you, right? So my answer next time is going to be, if you think I'm stealing something, check the camera. Check my pay log. You can mark it down. So for the record, I'm not staying on this. Legally, all right. Breaking news brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Be a better, be smarter, beat the books with BetQL. And don't forget to listen to Bet for the Cycle every Saturday from noon to 4 on the BetQL network, hosted by former MLB player Cody Decker and myself, Rob Brown. All the baseball gambling you can handle. Go.
Okay. According to ESPN, I mean, I think it's really ESPN. It says ESPN, but I don't think they pay for the check mark. But anyway, WBC heavyweight champion Tyson Fury will box former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou on October 28th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
I'm about to blow your mind. I don't care. I should. You have not arguably, I think at this point it's about as definitive as anything else. Definitively the best heavyweight boxer on the face of the planet, taking on subjectively the best heavyweight MMAer on planet Earth, right?
Supposedly the guy with the power to knock anybody out and all that kind of stuff.
I should care. And I will tell you, I will care if Francis Ngannou knocks out Tyson Fury. That's the only way I'll end up going back to watch this fight. But I don't care because Francis Ngannou's not a boxer. It's a different sport entirely. It just is. This is like if you told me, and I'm going to use in their primes because I'm trying to come up with a metaphor on the fly here, or an analogy, I should say, on the fly. This is like if you told me Tyreek Hill's going to race Usain Bolt in their primes. Like, I should be excited about that. The fastest guy in the NFL taking on a sprinter. But here's the thing. There is so much form and technique in sprinting. There is so much that goes into being a world-class sprinter that I got no interest in it because Tyreek's not that. And for the record, if it was the opposite, I'd feel the same way, right? Like if a boxer's going into an MMA ring, we're not interested. Why? Because he's a boxer. He doesn't know jiu-jitsu and blah, 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 blah. Listen, I'm not an MMA guy. I've never done, I'm an MMA fan, but I'm not an MMA guy. I've never done it, right? I've never been in a gym. I've never rolled. I've never sparred. I've boxed, and that's it.
I've never rolled.
That's a thing y'all say, right? Or they say. That's a thing they say. I've never done any of that. But in MMA, you're not going to take boxing and discipline it so down that you're ready to go toe-to-toe with a world-class boxer. It's just not, because you have to have 9 different backgrounds to be a successful MMAer. Now, do I think Francis Ngannou?
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor sucked at boxing.
Paid for that fight. Thought it was an excellent fight.
Okay,
I did. You know,
as a not boxing guy, you're right.
You're right, because I didn't work for Roy Jones Jr., so I'm not an expert. But I will say that I paid the money for that, and I did not regret it because I thought it was great. I think this is great too because we got a shot to see Tyson Fury knock Francis Ngannou out.
Great, he knocked out a not boxer. Wonderful.
No,
good job fighting a guy who is not trained to do the thing that you have done professionally for years. Nice job.
All right. You know, obviously we disagree on this, but guarantee you that there's a good portion of people who will pay for it and are looking forward to seeing this happen. We may all be wrong, but we'll just keep on singing like we're right.
You're like I said,
He's so frustrated. I don't even think he noticed.
You don't even understand how frustrated I am.
He didn't notice.
No, because I was trying to contain myself to put together my next thought. You are excited for the reason that I said I want to be excited, but I can't do it because Francis Ngannou is not a boxer. And what I don't want and you know where this comes from? I realize where this comes from. This disdain comes from a desire for boxing. I want to make boxing great again. It comes from a desire to return boxing to the pedestal that it deserves to be on. And if I've got a guy
MBGA on a hat doesn't work though, so I just
it could bigger. I as somebody who wants boxing to return to the pedestal that I believe boxing deserves to be on and used to be on.
But you know why I can't? Because MMA exists, because UFC exists.
No.
So here's a chance for boxing to show its dominance by defeating that upstart UFC with a knockout by boxing's biggest star in Tyson Fury.
Well, first off, for instance, Ngannou's not in UFC. So
you're right. I should have said MMA. You're right.
Beating the headliner from a promotion.
My entire argument.
What promotion is he in? Exactly.
Bellator.
Sure. You don't know. I don't know.
I was gonna say you don't know either.
Correct. And I'm not claiming I do, but the point that I'm making here is you're taking boxing's biggest star and you're putting him up against the guy who fights for a promotion that 90% of MMA fans don't know he's in. Don't watch. How much Francis Ngannou?
Actually, I think he fights for the Pro Fighting League.
How much Francis Ngannou have you watched since he left USC? None.
0.
Maybe a highlight.
But I will watch this. You know why? Because I find it intriguing and I am not going to overthink it. I just want to see this big name fight that big name because I'm simple. Obviously I'm simple. That's and us simple people, that's what we do. We go, that looks interesting. I got money. I buy.
Mongo just pawned in Game of Life. I want to be excited by it. You know what I would be excited by? Tyson Fury versus Alexander Olenek, the number 2 heavyweight boxer.
Boring.
It's boxing.
You know what that gets though? That doesn't get as many pay-per-view buys as Ngannou versus Tyson Fury.
I don't care. It's boxing.
Well, if you're a
Here's the thing,
capitalist
no,
like making money.
Right. How much money are you making on that fight, Lonzo? $0. 0 dimes.
What?
How much money are you getting from Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou? Not a dime. In fact, it's costing you money.
Okay. I don't understand that argument.
The argument here is,
it's not costing me money. You know what it's doing? It's entertaining me and I'm paying for my entertainment. As long as I pay for it and I go, yeah, that was worth it, then it didn't cost me money.
You are arguing this is great because of the number of buys that it gets. What does it help? What does it help? All it does, here's how this works out.
I don't know. World hunger still exists. There's no world peace. I guess it doesn't help the important things.
Dramatic, but I like it. It does. This comes from a place of being a boxing guy. All right. And I acknowledge that.
I think we all know that. Yeah.
I acknowledge that this is selfish as a boxing fan. Boxing cannot win. Can't win, right? This is like getting into a fight with a 90-year-old man, right? It's like getting in a fight with a 90, because here's the thing. If you win that fight,
we've seen some videos where some old men beating up. So, yeah.
I got it's coming to that. If I get into a fight with a 90-year-old man, if I lose the fight to the 90-year-old man, the 90-year-old man becomes an internet celebrity and I become a chump for the rest of my life. If I win the fight against a 90-year-old man, I'm just the guy who beat up a 90-year-old man. That's the curse of boxing in these types of fights. If Tyson Fury wins this fight, what is he? He's a guy who knocked out a non-boxer. That's it. There's no celebrity here. There's no elevation. Oh my God, Tyson Fury's incredible. He knocked out a guy who doesn't do the sport that he has perfected. But if he loses the fight to Francis Ngannou, what happens? Told y'all, boxing is for second-rate fighters who can't MMA. Boxing is for guys who can't get on the mat, who can't get in the cage. That's all it is. If Tyson Fury loses to Francis Ngannou, the image of boxing takes a massive hit. If Tyson Fury knocks out Francis Ngannou, there is no gain for the sport of boxing. None at all. He's just an excellent boxer who knocked out a guy who's not a boxer. It does not help boxing. All of this comes from a place of a dude who wants boxing to be made great again and knows that these types of fights only help one person, the accountant of the boxer, nobody else. Tyson Fury does not get elevated by knocking out Francis Ngannou. You're just going to go, yeah, he should. He's a boxer, and Francis Ngannou's not. Boxing as a whole does not get elevated by Tyson Fury beating Francis Ngannou. You just go, yeah, he's a boxer. They were boxing. He should be better. That's what he does for a living. But if Tyson Fury does eat a big right hook from Francis Ngannou and he can throw him, we know it. If he pops him on the chin and puts Tyson Fury to sleep, while boxing can't be made to look better, it can damn sure be made to look worse by an L. The only person in the entire game that this helps is Tyson Fury and his accountant. Nobody else. No other boxer profits from this. None. None at all. But the entire sport of MMA can benefit. Because if Francis Ngannou does anything except get put to sleep, MMAers look more legitimate, don't they? They can go beat the best heavyweight in the game. If Francis Ngannou just lasts and goes the distance, they go, we, as MMAers, can take a guy from a promotion y'all don't watch, put him up against the best heavyweight boxer in the world, and go toe-to-toe with him. And if Francis Ngannou wins this fight, if he puts Fury to sleep, or if he wins a decision against him, boxing looks outright stupid. The only person this helps is Tyson Fury and his accountant. That's why I'm mad about it. That's why I can't get on board. That's why I can't enjoy it. Because as a boxing fan, there is zero possible positive outcomes unless your name is Tyson Fury. That's it. It's the only guy that can have a positive outcome here because he's going to be rich. Sorry, he's going to be richer. And I guess it kind of comes to the philosophy of like, how much money you need, dog? Are you willing to sacrifice the optics of the whole sport for another $12 million when you're already sitting on 10 figures worth of income? Are you willing to hurt everyone else in the game, everyone else who laces up the 12 ouncers? Are you willing to make all of their lives more difficult so that you can get one more payday? How about you just fight Ulanov? How about you just fight any of the guys? Hell, fight Deontay Wilder again. I'd rather see that. Give Deontay a full camp. He learned from his mistakes. Go round 2. That's a fight. That's a boxing match.
All right. Text line 71307 or the stream. I'm trying to come up with a nickname here. I don't know which one's better. Salty Rob or Rob the Angered? You know, Rob the Angered has more of a 1%er kind of feel to it, but Salty Rob, I think, is close to what we've experienced the last nearly 45 minutes.
You can call me whatever the hell you want to call me. I'm right. Let's take a break. Back after this. I'm too mad to even do a segue. When we come back, we'll talk about something else in sports, probably. We'll see. I'm going to get some fresh air. Rob Lonzo and you, the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate.
You're going to force me to do something that I don't want to do.
Well, now I just want to know what it is.
I'm going to have to give you a hug. I mean, we know I don't want to do it, but if that's what it takes.
all-star team, but first as a reigning World Series champ.
I never made an all-star team until I got to the big leagues. I was always an alternate, and so it was a big deal for me to, play in the big leagues, make a couple all-star teams, and see big deal now for me to.
Dustin Baker.
Astros beat the Philadelphia Phillies for the World Series title last year. Phillies manager Rob Thompson is the skipper of the National League tonight. They're battling for playoff position, currently third in the National League East, 12 games out of the division lead. Fan Upstate is your home for Furman Paladin sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate. Attention, business owners.
Trey, that's funny because I bet he ain't ate today because he doesn't believe in breakfast. So that could be what it is. You know what I really need to do? I need to find out. I need to get a special guest booked on the show, the receipt checker from that store.
Most businesses do qualify, even those with no decline in revenues or those that already got PPP. Discover how much you can claim. There's no cost or obligation. Call now. 888-316-1372. That's 888-316-1372. Get up to $26,000 per.
For the record, I am not hangry.
888-316-1372.
Did you eat breakfast?
No.
See,
I never eat breakfast.
see, I told
I'm
you.
not hungry in the
I
mornings.
told you that's what he would say.
I'm not hungry in the mornings.
That is weird.
But I don't eat breakfast?
No, that you're not hungry in the morning. That's weird.
I'm usually not hungry till towards the end of the show.
It might be, James. It might be.
To receive. Diggs, what's up, guy? Welcome in, buddy.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hey, it's proof that you are all weird. I just want to point that out. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And if you don't eat it that way, then you are not doing it right. I'm not going to name myself an arbiter because who does that? But
Matt Kraft's not a morning eater. Neither am I.
uh,
JD says I wake up at 5:30. I don't get hungry until 10. Yeah, I get up about 6, and I'm usually not hungry till 11 or so.
I'm sure I could find multiple articles that point out how it's very important to eat breakfast when you
Challenge
first get
accepted.
up. And Rob will find multiple articles that say the exact opposite because people don't really, it's probably different for each person, but would you be willing to eat breakfast for a month and see if it makes a difference?
No, I'm not. Listen, eating when you are not hungry is you're just packing on calories.
No,
the
you're
whole-
not. No,
the
you're
whole
not.
concept of you've got to give your body energy. That's what this is. This is
No.
literally stored energy.
No. You're going to bruise yourself.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations.
You're aging right before our eyes. Don't do that. You saw me hurt myself earlier. You don't want to be there.
Kelly Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offer. Instant cash offer is exactly what it sounds like. An official offer to buyers.
No, he probably would just die on the spot, Trey. That would just be it. He would spontaneously
Nope,
combust.
I'd be handing out stunners like Steve during the invasion angle. Just everybody's catching
I
one.
don't know. You might hurt your hip if you go a stunner because you got to go down on the ground for that. Just saying. Go with something that keeps you on your feet, like a clothesline.
Yeah! 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 The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Alonso. I promise you, I'm not as angry as the start of the show may have made me out to be. All right? I'm not. I came in, I remain in a good mood. It's just that we hit 3 consecutive topics that got my goat, as they say, burnt my brownies, so to speak. It was just a run of frustration things. We're good.
I was going to ask when you got a goat because, it's South Carolina. You could have a goat. It's possible.
That's why I specifically said the expression.
Okay. All right.
It actually said Rob, the bearded Karen. I don't think anything I've talked about is Karen.
Salty Rob has a better, it's saying the same thing, kind of.
Right, but I'm not those things. If you sing when other people are trying to enjoy a play, you're a bad person. If you want to check my bag for the product that I purchased from your store, then pay someone to do that. Don't stop me in my day.
What?
And I don't remember what the last one I was mad. Oh, the boxing thing. That's just a bad sports business decision. It's not bad. It's selfish. It's a selfish decision by Tyson Fury. Yeah, that frustrates me.
It's like a guest appearance on the sitcom. I enjoy that when that happens. You don't realize these things exist in the same world, and then a person shows up on Friends or something that you're watching, and you're like, oh, look, it's Billy Crystal. I mean, I don't know.
It's a guest appearance on a sitcom, except it's James Spader, and he shows in, shoots your favorite character, and then leaves. You're like, what? Why? That didn't make it better.
Oh, that would be kind of cool, actually. And then that series ends, and that's how it ends. And then he starts showing up on other series that are being canceled, and that's how they cancel the series. Is James Spader shows up and kills the main character. Come on, that would be kind of cool. They'll never do that, though.
I really don't hate it.
Then his current show is ending, so why not do that on his way out?
We've lost the thread. All right. Trey said, what if Rob went to a Broadway play and a bunch of children and old people did a flash mob and sung really loudly while playing ukuleles and barefoot? Would he go to jail? No, I'd be handing out stunners like Steve Austin during the invasion angle. You get a stunner, and you get a stunner, and you get a stunner.
By the way, don't actually try to stun someone because you could break their neck. You don't want to do that.
I haven't tried it yet. All right.
The views of the host don't necessarily reflect the views of the Fan Upstate, Odyssey Upstate, or it's, whatever.
Coming up in the next hour, the Home Run Derby was last night. The All-Star Game is tonight. I'm going to tell you why it is a wonderful, wonderful time to fall in love with baseball all over again. We'll talk about that. Georgia has yet another player arrested. We are watching their slow descent into the University of Miami.
Yeah, it's July, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's normal.
They canceled the Fulmer Cup. I'm very sad about that. We'll talk about that. And Northwestern fires their coach. Y'all, we've got to get back to it with college football, man. All that more coming up in the next hour of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Now, if Rob was to stun the receipt checker, that would be interesting. She reaches for the receipt, and he just grabs her arm and boom.
Well, Jen told me that they got a $500,000 term life insurance policy from Ethos for less than $23 a month. All online with no complicated forms and no medical exam. All they have to do is
Thing is, it's always been the joke. It's summertime, how many Georgia players are going to be arrested? I've heard that forever around here.
Well, it was Florida for a little while. It was Miami for a decade.
Well, I think maybe people believe because Georgia's winning national championships that they got things under control.
Madcraft said, as a Miami fan, I'm taking offense to that slight you just dished out. Madcraft, let me start by saying, super pumped you're here. Really glad you're part of the show. Really glad you're participating.
And his slight was intentional because
100%.
he
I
is
can't
salty.
stand
Look
Miami,
at him.
dog. I can't stand Miami, bro. Can't stand him. I grew up around Miami. Well, not the city, but Miami fans in Florida. And y'all got some of the most entitled, arrogant, elitist fans that have no justification to be that. We were good in 92. Bro, it's 30 years ago. Relax. Relax. But I'm glad you're here, buddy. Glad you're part of the show. Good to have you.
Diddy likes my idea also of
Kobe.
of someone just showing up on a show when it gets canceled and killing off the main character. I think that would be amazing. Except on TGIF. That would have been disturbing to a lot of people. Suddenly Urkel's out of there. Oh, no. Make Urkel the guy. Make him the guy that shows up everywhere. Jaleel, I forget his last name.
Growing a business brings pressure. It's not easy to maintain momentum and still keep employees engaged. Fortunately, there's Insperity. Their scalable
Get a water real quick.
hiring, training, HR administration, and compliance.
We used to have a guy like that here. If he showed up at your door, you knew you were getting fired. He was a rather large man who escorted people out the building. He would come and stand in my doorway and just laugh after he made me feel uncomfortable. So imagine if at your company there was some guy who always showed up when someone got fired to escort them out the building, and he would just come to your door every once in a while and just stand there and stare at you. It was ultimate trolling before trolling was a thing. Not sure if he got fired or if he quit. He just disappeared. It was weird. Maybe he was never really here. I don't know.
Oh, you're talking about our...
No, I'm talking about the guy like 15 years ago who would show up at a door to escort someone out of the building when they got fired.
Tell me about that guy.
Yeah.
Matt Kraft said, I became a Miami fan around 0506. I'm still somewhat young. I just state that fact so people know I'm not a bandwagon fair weather fan. No, if you're still claiming Miami, you are most certainly not a fair weather fan because there has been no fair weather.
Well, it is Miami. It's probably fair weather. I'm sorry. I know I couldn't. Yeah, but sorry.
The city of Miami has the best weather in the country.
I'll go there someday, but by the time I get there, I'll be just too old to enjoy it. And maybe Shane will show up and present us our trophy.
I mean, let's be real. He gets some of the credit, right?
Well, yeah. He's like right around the corner. I mean, you know.
I'll text the SID.
You should.
If he's available.
Either way, whoever wins, him presenting the trophy will be great. Either way, it would be awesome.
You're not wrong.
Now, how can we make this happen?
Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Get Rob only on
The Fan Upstate.
Despite the best and inevitable efforts of the great one, I will be relentlessly positive. Relentlessly.
Okay,
Relentlessly?
because relentlessly is not a word. It's
Relent-
not. I don't. Yeah,
Re-
it was a fine effort though.
I gave it my best. Relentlessly positive in this hour of the show. Welcome back. Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, the Wizard of Wave, the Professor of Perfection, the Sultan of Swag on the other side of the metaphorical glass. And, of course, you are invited, no, commanded to be a part of the show this morning. I don't think I have that power.
I was gonna say, I'm just sitting over here trying not to sing during the show because you never know what you're gonna get if you do that.
Listen, I sing on the show frequently. I sing along with the bumper music. You hit me with the little Rebecca Black Friday yesterday. You got the karaoke version, which, by the way, I learned that Lonzo did not play the music on the stream. So the people on the stream just heard me singing Friday by myself.
You're welcome.
Spectacular. Awesome. Anyway, singing along is fine. No, I told you, inevitable efforts. I'm not doing it. I'm not going down that path again. I'll complain online later. Instead, we focus on the positive. Vlad Guerrero Jr. last night wins the home run derby.
He was, I watched the entire thing and I was rooting for him from the beginning because he's sturdy. I mean, at least compared to all the other dudes, he's got sturdy upper body. I mean, he's like KO in a way. Like he's on the edge of being super sturdy. Like when his career's over, you know, the food's going to be good and it's going to be, yeah.
Let me say this about Vladdy, because this has been the thing on our nationally syndicated Saturday baseball gambling show, Bet for the Cycle, for a while now. Lonzo, Vladdy has a dump truck. All right. Vladdy is stacked. Vladdy once took a ball off the bum that bounced back into the field. You understand? He changed the direction of a fastball off his butt back where it came from.
Did he flex or this was just a straight
No,
up
he
hit?
just stuck like he
Okay,
just
all right.
twerked it out there. Just gave the old club, the old Saturday night at the hip hop club.
If you want to see the visual, go to YouTube, Twitch.
Stuck the dump truck out there and 180 to heater back onto the diamond. That's incredible, man. Anyway, it was a ridiculous home run derby. I got one side of the bracket completely right. I came very close on the other. I did think Pete Alonso was gonna get it this year.
Yeah, but look who he went up against.
Julio bleeping Rodriguez, dude. Julio had a first round that was perhaps the greatest home run derby showing in a single round of all time.
All right, Keegan on
unbelievable.
the stream says only the first round, the home run derby is fun because they try so hard and are gassed after the first round, which is what I was saying. That's why I was watching to see who got gassed. And after over 40 home runs, I'm like, yeah, he is not winning this.
Yeah, but like, isn't it so first off, there is one thing that I would like to tweak about the derby. Okay. I think that I prefer to go back to you have 10 outs, right? You can take as many pitches as you want. This is why they went to a shot clock, was to prevent guys from taking 6, 7, 9, 10 pitches without swinging the bat. They went to the shot clock so that guys are swinging the bat. They're trying to put the ball over the fence. The problem with going on the shot clock, and I knew that this was a problem, but I think it really got illustrated last night. If you go first in a shot clock derby, you're at a major disadvantage, right? Because if you're Julio and you got Pete Alonso is what if you went into the show just to play a home run derby and you created a character whose only goal was to win as many consecutive derbies as you could, you would build Pete Alonso. He is built for this. He is compact. He is jacked. Looking real jacked, baby. The dude is built for derbies. This is what he's made for. And so if you're Julio, who is not built for derbies, right? He's an outfielder. He's thin. He's long. He's not a power hitter. That's why I didn't get why Mookie Betts was in there. Mookie going under, I made money on last night.
Well, you heard what he said. His wife said he should try it, so he did.
Sure.
So he can say that he tried it.
Sure.
I mean, if there's something in your career, you've done everything else, why not go for it? I mean, you know.
Look, I get it. Look, I get it. Listen,
I
if
do have a
somebody-
complaint about the coverage, though. I liked it better when you could see the balls. I don't like the split screen of the bat of the hit and then seeing the. I want to see it come off the ball. I want the behind the hitter view.
You know what? I don't hate that take. I don't hate that take.
I think
Because
it's
they
it's
showed
a-
it. They
yeah.
showed it a couple of times. They
And-
had a camera back.
And when they did, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the view I want to see.
The split screen. Here's the other. Well, first off. This isn't funny. It is funny. It's not. It should not be funny. Did you see the kid take the fly ball off the noggin?
No,
All right. So
because I'm busy watching the hitter because that's where they want you to focus. So I didn't see. I've seen a video of him being helped off, but I haven't seen the actual hit.
dude took a fly ball right off the skull, right off the noggin, collapsed down to the turf. That's not funny. What was kind of funny, though I absolutely should not find it funny, was that the next 4 hits, the camera would go to the outfield, Lonzo, and he's still down. All the other kids on that field, my man takes a baseball off the cranium, collapses to the turf, and 4 more hits. All the other kids are running around his unconscious. I don't know if he was unconscious or not, but he was definitely hurt. All the other kids are running around his body to shag balls. They just left him there until finally an adult realized, we should probably get that guy up off the field, and ran out there and got that kid and got him off the field. I was like, what is happening right now? I thought the coverage was fine. Remember, this is a fun event. It's supposed to be a fun event. It's just supposed to be fun, right? So Pete Alonso comes out. He's going second. He's lined up behind Julio Rodriguez Jr. Julio knows that Pete Alonso is a guy that can get to 35 and still have gas in the tank, right? He's built for this. He can get to 35. So Alonso, with 35 every round possibility, Julio goes, I gotta get there, right? I've got to get to 35 because if Alonso has a good round, he's getting 32. 35's well within reach. I got to get to 35 if I want a chance. So Julio goes out there and he swats 41, which is incredible. As a fan, damn if I didn't have fun watching that, right? What do you have, like 12 in a row at one point? I mean, dude was swatting.
Allegedly, because the screen is split, so I don't actually see the ball that it was just hit go out into the crowd. That could have been CGI'd. I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm starting a GoFundMe to get Lonzo a proper size television because I was in front of the 65-inch and I had no problem.
I was in front of a 60-inch, and that's not. No. You're missing the point. You've seen the trick shots on YouTube where the guy throws the ball and then you see the ball land somewhere, but you don't actually see it from the angle behind him to watch the ascent. I don't see the ascent of the ball, so I don't know for sure if that ball is going out or not.
I didn't have a problem. Let me rephrase that. I will say this. I thought the angle of the camera was bad, right? I thought the angle could have been better because you were basically relying on the announcers to tell you if that thing cleared the fence or not. I would agree with that.
Right. And so, things that you think, well, that probably should have been a home run and it wasn't. I mean, you can guess, well, I guess that was a pop-up. I don't know. I mean, it looked like he hit it and it probably went up. I mean, so you're counting on the announcers to tell you more so than you are watching it.
That's not unfair. That's not unfair. That aside, I thought it was fun, right? Now, I am going to make the tweak. I would like to go back to the 10 outs. I would like to go back to the 10 outs. And the reason why is the second guy has a distinct advantage. And unless we're going to come up with a better seating system, then, or we're gonna basically flip a coin to see who goes first and second, the number of outs, I think, is the right way to go, because we all saw in the second round Julio Rodriguez was out of gas, right? Like, he was exhausted. Why wouldn't he be? He just swatted 41 dingers in 3 minutes. That's a short amount of time to go that many times. Yad with Pete Alonso staring down the face. And the thing is, he would have won with half that amount, right? If Julio could have got to 20 and stopped, granted, it wouldn't have been the show that it was. It was a hell of a show.
He did set a record, though, right? I believe so. About the amount of home runs hit in the. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. I think he shattered the old record.
It was.
So at least from that standpoint, that's probably going to stick for a while.
So if you go to the 10 out model, right? You get 10 outs. Every swing of the bat that is not a home run is an out, but you can take pitches to wait for the one that is grooved for you. If you go 10 outs, it opens it up a little bit. And I think opening it up a little bit is the right way to handle this. Because if Julio goes up to the dish with 10 outs, realistically, he's probably ending closer to like 25, which means he's fresher in the second round. We got a better derby in round 2. On the flip side, the advantage for going second is mitigated a little bit. And I think last night, Julio, the disadvantage that Julio Rodriguez faced was in round 2 when he was up against Vladdy. Because not only did he have to gas himself with Pete Alonso going second in the first round, but he had to go first again the second round. Meaning in the second round, he had to go and swing for everything again versus Vlad Guerrero. We knew the number Vladdy had to get to, which means that Vladdy beat that number +1 and then was able to stop. So he was fresher for round 2 and fresher for the championship round than Randy Arozarena, who had to go full gas in both of his contests as well. The Derby is a fun event. It's great. And at the end of the day, if they don't change a thing, I'll be back to watch it next year and the year after that 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 and the year after that, because it's spectacular. It's a show. But I love a good competition. I really do. All-Star game coming up tonight. Here we go. A couple of textures. Let's respond to you guys' text before we get there. Texture says, "Fan, they need to add a skills challenge." I actually agree. I would love to see it. I actually think, to some degree, I think I prefer the skills challenge at the NBA All-Star game to the NBA All-Star game itself. I really like the NBA All-Star game because, again, I'm watching freaks of nature commit feats of athleticism that my brain can't even comprehend, but I'm here for it. I would be fine. That's not true. I wouldn't be fine. I like the NBA All-Star game. But I think you need to create some incentive for the biggest stars in the game to get into the skills challenge in the dunk contest, right? And I think MLB could do the same. Do a skills challenge. Do a skills challenge. In fact, you might even want to do it like, let's reward teams that get more All-Stars. What if you did a team skills challenge? All 30 teams represented in the All-Star game, and every one of your All-Stars can participate in it. So for the National League side, you got a couple of teams that have one representative, but the Braves have 6. 8 if you include the pitchers. Charlie Morton, or excuse me, Bryce Elder and Spencer Strider will not pitch in the All-Star game tonight because they both pitched this weekend, so they're on short rest, and they're not going to risk their arms for an All-Star game. Garrett Cole v. Zach Gallen will be your starters tonight. It's a good matchup. I like that. The Braves get 6 entries into the skills competition because that's how many All-Stars they got. I'd be down with that, but the Derby's got to stay one of them, right? The Derby's got to stay one of them. Texas said, you can't watch the ball fly through the air. These guys are swinging at warp speed. I don't see how they can swing that many times in that small amount of time. I'll tell you right now, I was freaking winded watching them, dude.
You can watch. You just do that thing that the NHL did. You put the glow on the balls and you could see them.
Now, you know what? I think I'm fine with switching the default camera view to the ground level from behind looking out. The only problem you're going to have is in a clear sky stadium like they were in Seattle last night, the ball flying up into the blue sky and clouds is going to be hard to track.
Very true, but I would prefer that angle. But you're right. Keep the batter on the left side and put that angle on the right side, and I'd be more happy about it.
Texter said when one ball was landing, 2 more were already in the air. And that was hard. It was like watching a Vince Russo match. Camera cut, 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 which does make it tough. But again, I don't know what static camera is the answer, right? I don't know what static camera is the right answer. Texas said apparently Pete Alonso's pitcher caught elbow inflammation. His replacement pitcher didn't help him very much with good pitches. No, you're right. You're right. In fact, it was who was it? Rosenthal or whoever was doing the color was pointing that out over and over. He's like, look, the pitcher's set up. The catcher is set up for outside pitches, and Alonso is an inside pull batter, right? He wants that ball in on the hands so he can use the biceps and the shoulders and the hips to turn to drive that ball. He's not a reach power guy. And he was getting outside pitches, but the catcher was set up to the outside and the pitcher was hitting the mark. But again, that's one of the reasons that makes the home run derby so damn interesting to me is that there is strategy and tactics to it, right? There's a lot of strategy to it. It's having the right guy throwing you pitches. It's having the right catcher set up, knowing where you need the glove to give you the best chance at the best ball to skyrocket. It is knowing what your pace is and not overdoing it, not just to be able to finish any individual round strong, but to save yourself for the next round if you move on. Like there's a lot of strategy. You saw some of the guys go to the cage between rounds and keep swinging and keep the flow. Keep the momentum, keep the rhythm, keep the timing. Other guys go off to the side, grab a Gatorade, take a seat, and relax. Try to save up some energy. Some guys were calling their timeout very early in the round, right? Let me figure out where the pitch is grooved. Let me figure out what the tempo, then let me take a break to evaluate that, get my mind set on it, then I'll come back up. Some guys were waiting till later in the round to call their timeout. Let me see how many I can pop in a flurry, wind myself, then take my 30-second timeout to catch a breather before I go back up there to try to finish. There's tactics, there's strategy, and I think that's why it's such a great event. Because it's not just who's got the biggest guns and can muscle the rock out of the stadium. It's also strategy and tactics and being able to think about how to win this thing as much as it is going out there and going yad 50-11 times. It's such a good event, man. It is. Even if you're not a baseball fan, it's a fun event. It's just a fun event to be a part of. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, let's take a look at this Georgia thing. Georgia has yet another player arrested for doing something dumb. Are we watching the de-evolution of the Georgia Bulldog program into something worse? And we'll combine that with the firing of the head coach at Northwestern over the hazing story. Is this a microcosm of college football? Or are these a couple of isolated incidents that are getting more press than they should? Where do you come down on that? We'll talk about that next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Thought you were doing some sort of Illuminati signaling there for a second with your hand thing. I don't know. I can't.
Microcosm.
Oh, okay.
Microcosm.
All right. I saw out of the corner
Microcosm.
of my eye, and automatically thought that's what it was.
Towards day with a blend of clouds and sunshine with high temperatures into the upper 80s. Towards night, mostly clear, low 70s. Ample amounts of sunshine on your Wednesday, working up to 91. I'm meteorologist Michael
Keegan said Twitter seemed to think Adley Rushman's sister was the real winner of the Derby. Twitter's not wrong, man. Twitter's not wrong.
I thought that was his wife. So that was his
I thought it was his girlfriend, but I'm not gonna lie. I was half paying attention. Scratch that. I was obviously paying attention, but I was more in on Rushman. By the way,
switch hitting. That was
yup. That was awesome.
Don't overthink it. You take the American League and take me later. I'm to the crick. Helping you beat the books.
Beat the books.
At Granger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional.
Oh, Steve got the top down today.
Call, click Granger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Say that again.
Business owners.
Steve got the top down today.
It's a good day for it.
Employees during 2020 and 2021, you may be entitled for up to
Never been a
$26,000 per
convertible guy.
employee through the Employee Retention.
By relieving the pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, or back with no All right. no harmful drugs, no steroids, no downtime. Listen, summertime needs to be about having enjoying the outdoors. Whatever. Yeah, I got to change the battery out on the bike, Skrilla. I will probably knock that out. Actually, I might do it today. It's a good day for a ride. I might go home, switch the battery out on the Honda, and take the old motorbike out for a spin.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes
That's
along.
interesting, JD.
ZipRecruiter, and now you can try it for free.
I don't know, man. Like they fired him, so
ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners
I would
find
think
a needle
like
in a haystack.
if he's one of the kids that's playing for a coach, not a school, then yeah, I would think he might be.
This Telly
We'll
Tires
see.
has grown a lot in the last few years. Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
Keegan with Alonzo take. Could have been VR. It's all fake.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle.
Steven, I drive a Honda VTX 1300. If you're asking about the motorcycle, if you're asking about the car, I went with a Bronco Sport, which I love, by the way. It's a nice ride. And it has treated me well so far. I just crossed the 1,000-mile mark.
Harlem in the 90s. 30 cops crossing the line.
Was it a common practice to break into apartments which were suspected drug locations? Yes, for money, for drugs, whatever was in there.
The Set, a new Odyssey original podcast.
Who's gonna catch us? We're the police. You got into the game back then, making money hand over foot.
Listen to all 10 episodes of The Set right now, exclusively on the free Odyssey app.
Hey, this is Mark Ryan with Offsides, and we're going to be live at Ingalls Markets, Easley, South Carolina, 410 Pelzer Highway this Wednesday from 3 to 7 p.m. And we'll be giving away a $25 Ingalls gift card. Come out to rock out with us. Sponsored by Corley Plumbing, Air and Electric.
At Corley Plumbing, Air and Electric, we offer same-day scheduling to meet your needs. Call Corley Plumbing, Air and Electric today or skip the line and book online. CorleyPro.com. That's CorleyPro.com.
Mark Ryan tells it like it is.
Coming up on a Super Tuesday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel. Gamecock fans, what are the most embarrassing moments in Clemson history? Clemson fans, same question for you on the Gamecocks. We've got Can We Stop? We have got the Upstate's favorite athlete bracket Sweet 16 and so much more, all on a Super Tuesday episode.
Number one for real afternoon sports talk.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
3 to 7 on the fan.
What are you doing of kangaroo? Have you ever seen kangaroos up close? They are muscled killing machines.
Yeah, in the zoo, but I'm just saying in that situation, I guess you just wait.
I'm sitting on the cart waiting. I'm not hitting balls into them. They know what you did. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I am Rob. He is Lonzo. We are glad to have you along for the ride. We got a lot of stuff to get into over the back half of the show, so let's jump right into the world of collegiate football. The University of Georgia has yet another player in trouble. Freshman outside linebacker Samuel Mpemba was ticketed last week, as that has come to the attention of the media now, for going 88 and a 55. Now, I know it's officer discretion. 88 and a 55, Lonzo, is very fast. In fact, I'm quite bad at math. That's why all my jobs are words jobs.
32. No, 33.
There it is. That's why we both have words jobs. 33 over the speed limit, which, I don't know that it's true or don't. I've never taken the time to look it up, but I believe you can get taken to the bars for 25 over or more. 33 over. Now, on the list of bad things that have happened, this is not towards the top, right?
There was no one chasing after him while he was doing this, right?
Not that I am aware of. According to Chris Lowe of ESPN, Mpemba's speeding citation occurred about an hour before Georgia receiver Marcus Rosemay-Jackson appeared in an Athens courtroom and pleaded guilty to driving 90 and a 45 back on May 23rd in Atlanta. A reckless driving charge against Rosemay-Jackson was dismissed as part of the plea. He spent an hour in jail after he was arrested back in May. ESPN reported in June that Georgia football players and their cars have been involved in at least 10 reports of traffic-related moving violations in Athens, Clark County since January 15th, when Georgia offensive lineman Devin Willock and football staff member Chandler LaCroix were killed in a reckless driving incident in which police alleged former defensive lineman Jalen Carter was racing them hours after a national championship celebration. LaCroix's SUV, traveling more than 100 miles an hour, left the road and slammed into power poles and trees. Of course, it's been not great. Now, I'm in a weird spot because on one hand, I look at the most recent issue, that one of Mpemba, and I think to myself, this kid's a college freshman. And almost universally, college freshmen are, I don't want to use the word dumb because a lot of them are very smart. But college freshmen are naive. They're ignorant. They're foolish, right? Maybe not dumb. You can't be a total idiot and go to college.
There is someone listening to us right now who is not only going as fast as he did, but faster.
Sure.
And which is still illegal. But I think it's not that they're being singled out. It's he got caught speeding. I mean, but you're in a public eye when you go and play for any university, but especially for Georgia. And it's just it's got to be frustrating for the kids themselves, knowing that they get treated, but you get treated better than some people. You're going to get treated the same in some ways.
So there's a handful of different elements in what you just said. I'll start with the last one and work my way backwards. I would start with, in this case, I would even argue you got treated better than a regular person, right? Because the majority of us, and I'm not a police officer, nor did I stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. But most of us, if we got busted going 33 over, are probably getting a free silver handcuff treatment, right? We're probably getting an escort to the station in the back of a cop car. Most of us. Georgia football players are getting citations. They're getting hit with reckless driving charges that are dropped after 1 hour in jail. They're having to do a little community service, which, let's be real, ain't the worst thing in the world. And those charges are getting dropped. But again, if this was a player, I go, that's no problem, right? That's a kid, being dumb. When I was in high school, my first car was a 1992 Cadillac Seville with a V8 3.2-liter North Star engine. It purred, dude.
Is that a
And
2-door or a 4-door?
it was a 4-door.
Okay.
It was a land yacht, bro, but it had, as we say out on the farm, Lonzo, some giddy up.
Not trying to go. I'm just curious for visuals.
Oh,
How many people could you fit in that?
I mean,
Or how many people did you fit in that?
I would say we reasonably could put 7 in that 4-seat car. It was a land yacht, dude. In fact, here I'll bring up a picture of it. Why not? I found one. Anyway, knowing that my mother is listening to the radio broadcast,
Statute of limitations
way
never.
past, right?
Yeah, but they don't work with parents.
I mean, she can't, well, she could try, but I don't think she can ground me anymore. There you go, Lonzo. That's the 1992 Cadillac Seville V8 3.2-liter engine. It hummed. It purred, dude. It was a great rig, right? For those of you who don't know why I'm saying there it is, we're on the stream at facebook.com/FanUpstate, twitter.com/FanUpstate, and YouTube, the Fan Upstate, Twitch at the Rob Brown Show. And I just showed the car because, you know, we're an all formats medium. Anyway, I was an idiot too. And with that big of an engine on that nice of a car, I tested it. I tried it. How quick can I go? Looking back at it now, I was an idiot. I do not approve of my actions when I was 17 and 18 years old, like these kids. If it's one kid, hell, if it's 2 kids who get busted doing this, I can write it off. Kids are idiots. They did an idiot thing. What do you want?
My thing is, if they're and you hear this argument all the time, I was going with the flow of traffic. Were they?
Not at 88, they weren't.
Dude, come on.
Now, you know what? You may have matched another car. The flow of traffic is not 88 to 55. Also, because it's 55, he was not on the interstate. If this is on the interstate, I'm a little more likely, because I'm not going to lie. Rob Brown tests the low 80s when he's on the interstate.
By the way, I'm not trying to defend it. I'm just saying that I'm sure there were other cars out there doing the same thing if he was on the interstate.
But 55 says to me, off interstate highway. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know the situation, right? But 55 is usually a highway. Interstates, even through Georgia, are 70, 65 at the least. Whatever, put that aside. The problem is not it was a kid or 2. The problem is this is, what, a dozen so far this year? Which tells me, because if one guy gets busted, you look at the team and you go, hey, guys, don't, right? Don't be stupid. If 2 guys get busted, you look at the team and you go, fellas, come on. You're going to get the team in trouble. If 3 guys get busted, you look and you go, next one of y'all that gets busted doing 30 over is hitting suicides until you vomit. And if 4 kids get busted, you're having a real come to Jesus meeting with the team. You've had a dozen of them, which tells me.
At what point do you look and go, are they being targeted?
They're doing 80.
No. I completely agree. You should not do that. But I mean, it looks, it's a trend, yes, but they're also all of them are getting caught.
Then if I'm Kirby, I'm going, fellas, if you haven't noticed, the cops are looking for you. Now,
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Here's the thing.
Is that a direction
Here's the
you
thing.
use to try to deter them from doing that?
Even if the cops are looking at you, which I have been broadcasting in, out, and around college football cities my entire career of 15 years now. In most cities, the cops actively try to let you off the hook, right? One of the problems, for instance, right now, is that there was an accusation against a former linebacker for Georgia. We've been talking about driving. It gets worse. Star linebacker Adam Anderson was arrested for rape after a woman who worked part-time with the football team claimed that he violated her after she passed out from drinking in October of 2021. Despite the fact that the alleged victim worked for the football team, 8 players showed up in court as character witnesses for Anderson, who was later charged with second-degree rape. Another player was charged with recording a sex act with an unconscious woman and remained on the team for a full season before transferring out. And that is all bad. All of that is bad. None of that is good. But here's the part that really kind of threw everything off that made me come to this topic. A recruit was accused of sexual assault during his visit, and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reports that there's a video of Athens police detective Daniel Schmidt interviewing the recruit who was part of the 2023 recruiting class and currently enrolled with Georgia. Schmidt, a cop, was in the room with Georgia Director of Player Support and Operations Brian Gant. The AJC says the video shows that, quote, the interrogation seemed more like a counseling session, end quote, and says that Detective Schmidt at one point referred to Georgia as, and I quote, my beloved Bulldogs, end quote.
Okay. That's a problem.
That's bad. That's real. When the cops, after a player gets arrested, when the cops are allowing a member of the Georgia football team staff to come sit with that player during the interrogation, and then is referring to Georgia as, and I quote, my beloved Bulldogs, end quote, during an investigation of a sexual assault charge. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say we were done? We weren't. According to the AJC, in the video, Detective Schmidt told the player, quote, I'm looking out for you. No matter how this plays out, I think there's a lot you can learn from it. You can talk more to Coach Gant about it because it's not his first time navigating this, to which Gant responded, correct, end quote. So, a player gets arrested with evidence for sexual assault. A detective picks him up, brings him to the station for interrogation. The inspector then allows a member of the University of Georgia football staff to show up and be present. Not a lawyer, a member of the staff to be present for the interrogation. Then in the interrogation, not only calls the football team, and I quote, my beloved Bulldogs, end quote, but then after calling them, quote, my beloved Bulldogs, end quote, says to the player, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to learn you something here, son. And then after that says, and if you have any more questions, you can talk to your coach because he's done this before. He's done this before. He has sat in this room with this detective during arrest or detainment for sexual assault charges in order to help out the player. I don't think you have to be a woke warrior to go, that's bad, right? When you have a guy on staff who is your go-to guy to send down to the station to counsel the next player who was arrested for sexual assault, that's bad. That's real, real bad. So I don't understand how this isn't a topic of conversation. I don't understand because earlier one of the Georgia fans in the audience, who by the way, Brandon, Skrilla, love you boys. I do. I don't hold this against Georgia fans, right? Popped in and they were like, well, I'm sure stuff like this is going on at other schools too. Probably. And if and when it comes to light, I'll rant on that too. I'll go off on that school too. You know, like it did at Baylor. Remember that? Baylor had a swath of sexual assault allegations going on amongst football players to the point that they had to let their coach go. They had to move on. They had to issue self-sanctions on their own team. And even in the face of all of that, fans were calling for Baylor's football program to be nuked. Get rid of the program. Let every player transfer out that hasn't been accused or charged. Send them all out and get rid. Baylor does not deserve football anymore. Now, that's easy to do when you're talking about a second-tier Big 12 school. We are talking about the back-to-back natties. We are talking about an SEC powerhouse. So I suspect we're not going to hear those calls. But I will say, maybe it's just me, though I don't think it is. Because ordinarily, I don't get head shakes of agreement all the time. But I'm getting them here. If you have a guy on your staff who has the role of counseling during sexual assaults to the alleged perpetrator, something's going wrong here. And more importantly, we had a texter that says, slow news day when y'all talking about someone speeding for a whole segment. It's not about the one guy speeding, not someone speeding. It is what we're talking about now piled onto a dozen. And keep in mind, one of those resulted in the deaths of 2 people, right? 2 people killed in a racing incident. When you have that many people doing that same thing over and over and over, even after people died from it, dead, finito, no mas. When people died and you still have this going on, do you know what that says to me? It says the players are acting with impunity. It says the players are fearless of repercussions. It says the players do not believe there are consequences here. It says to me that the players are looking at the program and going, we won the Natty. We are favored to win the Natty again. And as long as we are favored to get another chip, we can do whatever the hell we want, right? We can do whatever we want. Hell, the guy that had the deputy tell him, my beloved Bulldogs, was a recruit. If we were looking at hiring someone for the station and we were recruiting them to a job and then we find out that after they were here at work, they got arrested for sexual assault, we probably go, yeah, we're good here. We'll check back in if you are acquitted of this. Maybe. Not Georgia. You understand why I'm frustrated? You understand why this is a problem now? It's not that there was an incident. It's that there's been lots of incidents, and it does not appear there are consequences. College football cannot be operated this way. Your thoughts are welcome. 844-FAN phone, 844-326-3663. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. You taking off?
Yes.
Be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
at up to 95% off.
We back, y'all. Thanks for hanging out.
The same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/joy. That's forhims.com/joy for your free online visit. forhims.com/JOY.
Do you have heart failure and often hear?
Those stomach issues ruined your birthday.
Too tired
So,
to catch
when you are listening to other shows,
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar,
No, Luke, it was not.
ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM.
when you are listening to other shows and a host has a take that you've already put out there, do you automatically go, that guy ripped my take? Or do you go, hey, that guy's smart, we came to the same conclusion?
The latter, not the former.
Okay.
Unless they go word for word every last thing that you said. And I mean, it's not unusual, not unheard of that more than one person would think the same thing.
What if they are on the same network as you? And before anybody starts some drama, I'm not talking about Mark. I'm talking about a BetQL guy.
I don't know it's your intellectual property because you came up with
Not
it.
at
Unless
all.
you got a
Not at all. There's nothing I
copyright or
can do.
something. Oh.
But it's wrapping up our number 2 of the Rob Brown Show. Texter 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. Texter said, you can tell Rob is not from here. This is old news. Georgia has been doing this for as long as people can remember. Let me go find the second half of that text.
Yeah, by the way, that's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
Ever since I've been here going on 26 years, that's always been the thing with Georgia. That's why I said the thing, oh, it's July. Someone from Georgia got arrested because that's a normal thing in the summer.
Yeah, second half of the text is they are notorious for their high number of arrests. Oh, listen, I know. Again, I've been doing this 15 years. Some of y'all remember for a while, one of everybody's favorite competition was the Fulmer Cup. Y'all ever talk about the Fulmer Cup? The Fulmer Cup was a unofficial, unsanctioned, fan-driven competition where everybody would be keeping an eye on the arrest and charges of everybody else's football teams. And you would get points based on number of arrests, number of detainments, number of charges, level of charge, et cetera, et cetera. And at the end of the year, the worst behaved football team would be awarded the Fulmer Cup. Now, they stopped the Fulmer Cup, and I supported that decision because basically it got to the point where it was becoming a joke, and there were so many sexual assault charges going around in college football that they stopped it to say, hey, we don't want to make light of these charges.
So this was an actual thing. I thought you were talking about, fans.
Well,
saying that.
it was put together, and I don't remember what. There was one of the fan-driven sports reporting sites. I don't remember which one, so I'm not going to say a name, but you know the kind of website I'm talking about. Kept track of the Fulmer Cup every year. So, like, if you saw that somebody had a player get arrested for speeding and they caught a reckless driving misdemeanor, they would get 3 points or whatever. And at the end of the year, this website, which was funded by the fans, would give out the Fulmer Cup. And they stopped because, again, they didn't want to, even though it was a goofy fun thing, they didn't want to create a world in which we were, excited about charges of sexual assault over a dumb website joke. So they cut it out. But Georgia was always a finalist for the Fulmer Cup when we were keeping track of that stuff. I'm aware of it. But to me, there's a difference between Stet Bennett got arrested for walking down the street drunk because he had one too many avocado tequila shots versus Georgia sent a coach to an arrest interrogation. You understand? Like, there's a difference there, right? A player catching a speeding ticket for going 20 over on the interstate, I'm like, it's dumb, but let's be real, we've all done it. Versus a guy getting arrested because he pulled a gun in a nightclub, right? Number of arrests are one thing. Severity of arrests and the response to them is the problem. If you get a guy get arrested and the school responds by going, we're going to set him up with counseling and a therapist and a rehab program or whatever, like, good, you responded to that arrest and you're making the rest of the team know this is unacceptable. Georgia's had 12 dudes get arrested for high-level speeding since January. And there's no punishment for that? Add the sexual assault stuff. That's the problem. Let's take a break. We're back after this for the third hour of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Vlad Sr. in San Francisco in 2007. Vlad Jr. last night in Seattle. The Guerreros are the first father-son duo to win the home run derby. Little Vladdy topped Randy Arozarena by 4 dingers in the final round, hitting 72 total long balls. There were 341 homers all counted, the most ever in Derby history. Yankee righty Garrett Cole throws the first pitch of tonight's All-Star game sometime after 5.
I think the first person who called home runs dingers thought, dinger, should I do this? Should I not do? I don't know how this is going to go over. Or was it just like an accident and then it caught on?
So first off, I suspect it happened at a lower level, right? Because ding is the sound that a metal bat makes when it cranks a ball, right? So I suspect it probably started at lower level sports and then worked its way up. That's my guess.
Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio. CBS Sports Radio.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So wait, do you do it because you have to?
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them.
Get to know them how?
We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health, family, and lifestyle, so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss. That's Mike saying good morning. It's the best he can do right now. Yeah, not a cloud in the sky. What Mike could use is a fresh start and Irish Spring Body Wash. The fresh scent of Irish Spring and those sensational Irish Spring suds are just the reset Mike needs. Now he's ready to go to work. It's Sunday. Irish Spring. When the spring hits you, you're ready. Pick up Irish Spring at Walmart today.
You could throw your flip-flop at a bug.
Ew, a bug, get it.
But the chances of actually hitting it
Oh, over there.
are statistically
Yeah, it's still alive.
unlikely. Good thing nature's got your back. Stem bug killers combine powerful active ingredients found in plants like lemongrass and geraniol and scientifically engineer them into effective bug-fighting formulas, safe for use as directed.
No, I don't want to change dinger to finger.
Stem,
Thank you,
rooted in nature,
Google.
optimized by science.
Rise Guys P1 Lager. Proudly presents Sublime in concert. At the Foundry at Jetson Mill in downtown Greenville. Tuesday night, August
All right. One theory is what you said. Another one is that dinger came from the phrase "ding it," which was used by early baseball players to encourage their teammates to hit the ball harder. Yeah, see, go out there and ding it. That's what you got to do.
It's like where we rolling a Christmas commercial, but I get it now. No, the Bronco is not the reason we don't get Ray Dio. Ray Dio shall make a triumphant return. The reason we don't have Ray Dio right now is because Rob is on job 8.
Also known as Job 37.
And does have a family and personal life. For instance, going to a baby shower.
And time for his real friends, not us.
I mean, I have to go to my sister-in-law's baby shower, Alonzo, and while I very much love you, buddy.
I think you've used me to get out of that sort of thing before.
Oh, I absolutely have, but this is direct family.
Ah, okay.
Right? This is Courtney's sister. I would not get out of this baby shower. It is for Courtney and her sister. If this was for Courtney's BFF, 100% I'd be like, oh, nope, Lonzo needs me. Lonzo has shined the Rob Brown Show light. I must be present for the betterment of the society.
Because I'm definitely here for that sort of wingman need. So, you know. I'm considering in the meantime doing a broadcast of board games. There's some really cool board games at Borderlands based on certain franchises, and I think we could have fun doing that. Gable's in first break.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Welcome in. I am Rob Brown, the great Lonzo on the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM. If you'd like to be a part of the show, the phone line's open for you at 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. You can text us at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, so that we may read them on the air. I also do ask you, lovingly and respectfully, keep your text concise if you can. Keep them concise, because if you don't, they start getting broken up, and then I got to work.
Inconceivable!
Yeah, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. So shoot your text to 71307, starting with FAN. Keep them brief and to the point. We'll read them on the air and address them as we go. Let's get to this Pat Fitzgerald story. Man, we really have just kind of been hanging on the negative today, haven't we? That's all right. It's Tuesday. That's what Tuesdays are for.
No, it's not what Tuesdays are for. Tuesdays are like the best day of the week. Why in the world would you want to ruin it and put that on it by saying all bad things should be talked about on Tuesday?
Tuesday's the worst day.
Everyone knows it's the best day.
How is it the best day? In what world is Tuesday the best day?
Because most people dread Monday, and you got past Monday.
Right.
That makes Tuesday the best day because you survived Monday. So Tuesday is one step closer to the weekend, which means something to a lot of people. But the best part about Tuesday, for some people, is that it's not Monday.
Monday is a day which, if you did it right, you're coming into, like, yes, it is a bad day. You know, you've got 5 full days between you and the R&R the next weekend.
Some of us have 6, but, you know, including you.
I was going to say,
yeah.
I have 0 if you really want to get into it. Monday, you're going into day, but you had Sunday to, if you did it right, you had Sunday night to chill, relax, rest up, get yourself a good night's sleep, whatever. Tuesday, you still have 4 full days between you and the weekend, and Monday has eaten away all your extra reserves. Tuesday's the worst day. Anyway.
By the way, we're talking about you guys because it doesn't apply to us. Because,
not even. We don't have normal lives.
Because we work in radio and we have fun every day in everything that we do. No strife, no turmoil, no stress.
He's not wrong.
Just come here and, talk about sports.
He's not wrong. Last Friday, Northwestern President Michael Schill read a report on a 6-month independent investigation into allegations of hazing within the Northwestern Wildcat football program, complete with 50-plus interviews. And it deemed that head coach Pat Fitzgerald should be suspended for 2 weeks in July before camp, where nothing is happening. And of course, rightfully so, there was righteous indignation amongst the people. Because is this really a punishment? A dude getting paid upwards of $1 million is suspended 2 weeks in July, where really nothing's going on for the most part, at least nothing that can't be handled by a trusted assistant coaching staff. And is that the punishment? Well, that 6-page report ended up being made public over the weekend and really started getting out there yesterday afternoon, partially because of support local journalism. The Daily Northwestern, the student newspaper on the campus at Northwestern. They had went and found out exactly what was going on. They took that information, they ran with it, they made it public, and we found out that the stories, the allegations of hazing amongst the football program were ever so much worse than we all thought they might have been up front. After the allegations began going public through media reports, including the Daily Northwestern, Schill determined that he was so troubled by the exact same information he had that he needed to fire Fitzgerald immediately. So we looked at all this last week. 50 pages of allegations and investigation into those allegations. 50 pages of it he looked into. And he thought, yeah, 2 week suspension in July seems fair. And then the public found out about it and went, whoa, dude, hold up, bruh. And then he looked at it and went, oh, no, you guys are right. He's fired. That's a pretty devastating left-hand turn, right? So, Schill said in a statement, quote, since Friday, I've kept going back to what we should reasonably expect from our head coach, our faculty, and our campus leaders, and that is what led me to make this decision. The head coach is ultimately responsible for the culture of the team. The hazing we investigated was widespread and clearly not a secret within the program, providing Coach Fitzgerald with the opportunity to learn what was happening, end quote. Let me tell you what I have a problem with here. He had all this information last week. He was the first one to get a copy of the report, the conclusions of the investigation. First one to get a copy. He had all this information. He said 2 week suspension in July. Then it went public. And we all went, scratch that. Most of us went, it's not good enough, dude. It's not good enough. And if you read the allegations of hazing at Northwestern, this wasn't like, hey, they, I don't know, they walked into the locker room and scared the freshies, right? This wasn't, they made the freshmen clean the locker room. This wasn't, they made the freshmen serve them lunch. Some of this stuff was, what's the word I'm looking for? Gross, disgusting, sexually degrading, and humiliating. Some of it was stuff that if it happened to your child, you'd have lit Northwestern on fire. If you haven't done it yet, if you're one of these people that's like, hey, look, it's football, bro. That's what bros do, bro. This isn't your daddy's hazing, right? This isn't the hazing of, hey, rookie, carry my bag. Hey, rookie, here's my jersey, do the laundry. Hey, rookie, run down to the donut shop and grab a dozen for the seniors, would you? This stuff was gross. And not just gross, like Weird for how much thought you put into some of this gross stuff. Gross, right? And here's the reality. There's only two positions if these things are true. And at this point, I have no reason to believe that they're not. There's only two possibilities of reality here for Pat Fitzgerald. Number one, he knew all this was happening and he let it happen. That's bad. You don't have to like this, but you do have to understand that it's a reality now. We don't do that anymore. We societally have moved past that. I'm not saying you can't have team building exercises. I'm not saying you can't mess with the freshmen a little bit. Sure you can, right? Hey, freshman, it's your job to make sandwiches today. That's fine. What I'm saying is you can't sexually and publicly degrade people and go, we're just bonding, bro. No, you're not. We've moved past that. You don't have to like that, but we have moved past that. So either Pat Fitzgerald knew this was happening and allowed it to happen on his watch. That's a fireable offense. Or Pat Fitzgerald didn't know this was happening. In which case, Pat Fitzgerald was running a program where some pretty evil stuff was happening underneath him, and he just continued to allow it under his watch. In which case, you have one of two things. Either a negligent, that's the word I'm going for. Either a negligent coach who is unaware and unable to control the players on his program, or a coach who had created an atmosphere where players could be stripped naked and forced to bear crawl with their sexual organs out and on display around the locker room full of the rest of their teammates. And they said, you know what? I would rather endure that than go to coach and go, I'm not doing this, coach. You need to put an end to it. In which case you have harbored an atmosphere that effectively condones what can be defined, should be defined, is sexual assault.
I'm just curious what the repercussions were if you were a player and you refused to do the naked bear crawl.
You know who doesn't know? You, me, and Pat Fitzgerald.
All right. In the age of Joe Paterno, I'm surprised he got a suspension in the first place. I'm surprised he wasn't just immediately fired. Because with all the stuff with Joe Paterno, Joe just didn't know.
First off, Joe totally knew. He absolutely knew. And then he, like everybody else at Penn State, went out of their way to defend Jerry Sandusky, as Joey B just pointed out before I could get to it. I didn't know what was going on is now referred to as the Joe Pa defense. And the Joe Pa defense is not acceptable anymore. It's not acceptable.
All right. You've been in locker rooms, either playing or interviewing, or so. Do you believe that there's a way that stuff that's going on in the locker room or around the locker room could not be known by a head coach?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. But if it is like one of the players was selling dope out of the locker room and that gets back, I'm forgiving that.
So if something like that happens in another place of business, like say it happened here, would the boss downstairs, would he be fired?
If you and me,
let's put some other people.
I'm going to. If you and me as the veterans on this team, every time that you hired a new producer, Lonzo, made them strip down naked and crawl on all fours around the upstairs studio, and every time they passed us, we gave them a paddle to the naked butt cheeks, and that continued for years. And then one day, one of the producers got it out there. One of the newbies got it out there in the news, and it went news. Yes, our boss would be fired for that. You have got to have more control over your program than that. That can't be a thing, dude. And we would come on the air and go, wait a minute, guys, this was just team building. Just some friendly team building. That's not good enough. It's not.
I'm trying to, I was in a fraternity and I was an active who made pledges to do things. Why would you think of this as a punishment? I mean, that's kind of sick, and it is sick in the first place, but the fact that it was a continued tradition, this is weird.
It is weird. It is weird. Listen, if you are a consenting adult and that's a thing that gets your rocks off, more power to you, big dog. Have at it. If there are people in this world who love to be told by pretty ladies or svelte gentlemen to humiliate and degrade themselves sexually, and they get off on that. If you're a consenting adult, that's all you, my guy. But if you are
I think you
not,
should just
it
point
is
out
sexual assault.
The consenting part. Most of these guys are adults legally. There's a few that are probably only 17, but for the most part, they're 18. So if they go along with it, then they're consenting.
No, you can go along with something that you do not consent to because the consequences
if you're
of
forced
not
to.
going, correct. That is being forced into something against willfully, but against your consent. You can do something willfully against your consent because what? You fear the repercussions if you don't go along. I hate this. I don't want to do this, but if I don't do it, the consequences within this group that I am now signed up to be a part of could be bad. The best outcome here is a player goes, yeah, no, I'm not comfortable doing this. He goes to Fitzy and goes, bro, your players are doing this to me. I'm not down. And Fitzgerald walks out and goes, guys, no mas. Not a chance. Absolutely not. And if I catch any of y'all doing this, you're off the squad. No questions asked. You're gone. You're gone. This is beyond unacceptable, right? The allegations made, and again, they did 50 interviews. They corroborated the stories repeatedly. And unless there's just a network of former football players who built a grand conspiracy to get rid of Pat Fitzgerald, there's a whole hell of a lot of smoke for there to be no fire. Corroborating stories, corroborating dates, corroborating names, all of it circles back. So either Fitzy knew about it and let it happen, in which case he should be fired, or this was happening for a long time and very openly, and Fitzy didn't know about it, in which case he's negligent, bad at his job, and should be fired. They wanted to pass him on a 2-week suspension. Why did they just want to do 2 weeks? Because they didn't know this report was going to get out. They thought they were going to keep this whole thing under wraps. Hey, Fitzy, this is pretty bad, dude, but we think we can cover this whole report up. We can suspend you for 2 weeks, never tell anybody what it was officially for. We're going to set you on a 2-week vacation down to the Bahamas, and when you come back, it's back to life as normal. Then a couple of student journalists went, nah, bro. A couple of student journalists found this stuff, put it out there in the public, and went, y'all, this is real bad. And the university at that point not only had to fire Pat Fitzgerald because of how bad he was at his job, but they had to fire Pat Fitzgerald to save their own asses. Because this report came out and we already knew that they already knew what was in this report, which means that this guy has to look at a video camera. And he's going to get asked, and he should get asked to his face, hey, you knew everything that was in the report, and you thought a 2-week suspension was fine. And then once we found out what was in the report, you automatically fired the guy. Why the change of heart, Adam?
Yeah, how often does that work that guy keeps his job?
Oh, he won't.
Yeah.
He won't. Because he can't. There's no justification for why when you were the only person who knew what was in that report, you were good with the 2-week suspension, but when it got made public, you fired the guy, right? Now, if he went from a 2-week suspension to a 2-month suspension, that's not quite as big of a chasm between those two outcomes. And he could rationalize that. Well, it was pretty bad, but we found that Fitzgerald didn't know what was going on, and players were coercing other players to keep it from the coaching staff, and we think we can prove that is the case. So while negligent, we are still going to increase the suspension, but you fired him. You thought it was so egregious as to fire him, rationalize the jump from a 2-week unpaid suspension to a full-fledged termination of contract. I suspect that Michael Schill is probably going to end up losing his job over this too, and I'm going to be real with you. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with it because this is pretty egregious. It's the stuff that is in this report. I read about 35 pages of it so far. The stuff that's in this report is beyond gross. Beyond gross. It's beyond humiliating. It is into the realm of harassment and assault. You can't let that happen. And this is why I had questions about Georgia in the last segment too. Because I'm getting very close to the line where I'm going to look and go, I don't care if he's won back-to-back natties. It certainly appears from the outside in that Kirby Smart is running a program much like Urban Meyer did at Florida. And if you want to know why I'm happy to talk about Kirby outwardly, it's because when I was down in Florida and all the stuff was going on with Herb, when the Alachua County Sheriff effectively named a wing of the Alachua County Jail after Urban Meyer because of how many players he had going in and out of it constantly. When I was down there in Florida, I did a segment about this around the middle of Herb's tenure when it was very clear that Herb didn't really give a crap what you did as a player as long as you helped him win, right? I went on the air and I said, hey, this Urban Meyer guy, this stuff going on in Gainesville, it's not okay. It's not okay. We should not be good with this. And I got told by a number of people, hey, Rob, if you keep going after Herb, you're going to cause problems. You're not going to be able to carry their games anymore. You're going to get blacklisted from events. The booster clubs in the area won't invite you out anymore. You're not going to be able to get your face in front of them. You better knock it off about Herb. And a much younger, naive, and less impressive Rob Brown, I did that. I backed off of it. Now, I'm not saying I had some huge voice in the world of college football broadcasting. I'm working on it. But I wonder if more people in positions like the one I was in and am in now, if more people pointing stuff like this out and going, this is bad. We're not okay with it. This can't be allowed to happen anymore. If more people would have done that, is it possible Florida could have been saved? Is it possible Herb wouldn't have had a heart attack and needed to spend more time with his family? Is it possible that Florida could have been saved? Florida would have gone through what I think Georgia is setting up to go through right now. By the way, do you remember what happened to Florida after Urban Meyer left? Anybody? Does anybody remember Florida's list of coaches and the success that they had after he left? I suspect, while most Florida fans have told me that they wouldn't change anything, which, all right, I suspect after Ron took off that they would not have brought in, who was after Ron or after Urban? Let's see. After Urban came, well, it was Will Muschamp out the gate. That went great. Then it was DJ Durkin for a game until Jim McElwain came on board. Did you ever see the picture of who I am 99% convinced is Jim McElwain naked laying on a shark on a fishing boat?
Well, yes, we talked about that on the air
You
when
should
that
have.
happened. Yeah,
It was incredible.
it
And it
was.
was 100% him, wasn't it?
We
it
thought
was
so. We thought so.
Yeah, it was him. Then after McElwain left, you brought in Randy Shannon, a guy that I have a lot of respect for, because you know what Randy Shannon did? When Randy Shannon was at the University of Miami, Randy Shannon graduated more Miami players per percentage-wise than anybody else before him. And do you know how many Miami players went to jail when Randy Shannon was in charge of that program for 3 or 4 years? I think 1. But he got fired because he didn't win enough games, right? Randy Shannon was there. Dan Mullen was there. That went awesome. And then Billy Napier's there. It's not been great for Florida since Herb left. I don't want to see Georgia go down the same path because they will. You let players get away with stuff with impunity. You let football players get away with stuff without fear of discipline. You end up having another University of Florida experience. And if you have that, based on the fact that we as the public don't accept that anymore, your program becomes a pariah, and you end up with Muschamp, McElwain, Shannon, Mullen, Napier, and a couple of winning seasons in the process. Do you want that for Georgia? Nope. Because I promise you, Northwestern, until Schill gets fired, is about to do the same thing. By the way, Lonzo, Northwestern's played for 2 Big Ten championships in the last couple of years. Want to take a bet right now they don't make it back to another one in the next 10? Because I will.
I don't think they will. No.
Nope. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Got a few more things I want to run through as we hit the speed round next, and then Twitter trending topics to call it a day. Rob Alonzo and you on the Rob Brown Show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fan Upstate.
Cables.
All right, guys, got a live read right here. Stay right there, and we shall return. All right, we back, y'all. Taco Tuesday. So, Greenville, what do you want to talk about? I know what we're talking about.
Sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters. All at prices
Faux wood.
Plus, we'll send you free samples before
It's
you
not
buy.
real
Don't
wood.
hire an
It's
expensive
faux
pro.
wood.
Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Mark Ryan tells it like it is. Coming up on a Super Tuesday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel. Gamecock fans, what are the most embarrassing moments in Clemson history? Clemson fans, same question for you on the Gamecocks. We've got Ken.
Women's World Cup. We are going to do plenty of Women's World Cup, my dude. Plenty of it, I promise.
Tuesday episode. Number one for real afternoon sports talk.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
3 to 7 on the Fan.
Upstate.
Let's talk about Dominic Mysterio's cardio workout in the yard.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a rocking and a rolling towards the end of the radio broadcast. If you want to jump in here last minute, you can do it. 844-326-3663 or text us 71307 71307. Start your text with FAN. F-A-N. Yeah. 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 And we will read them on the air. Couple of things we're going to speed through here before we get out of the get out for the day. The LIV Tour and the PGA Tour have representatives currently on Capitol Hill having a congressional hearing with some folks who are kind of interested in how and why it is that the PGA Tour went from we hate the LIV Tour to we love the LIV Tour, and more importantly, all that cheddar. I'm fine with this one, Zoe, because there's more here than I could fit in just Twitter trending topics. Some documents have started to drop via this congressional hearing, and one of them lists all of the demands that the LIV Tour made to the PGA Tour in order to push through the sale and give them billions of dollars. Here are some of those demands. I find them interesting. Number one, both parties are to stay their respective legal actions immediately and also initiate a cooling off period for PR reasons. As a part of this, LIV has been requested by the PGA Tour and European Tour to stop their players being poached once the HOTs are agreed. I don't know what an HOT is. I'm assuming it's like the terms and conditions of the agreement, which nobody reads. But I know what the rest of it means. Number one, they're not going to sue each other anymore. That was a big hang up in all this. Number two, to initiate a cooling off period. We wondered why it was that you stopped hearing the PGA Tour, not some of the players, although some of the players like Rory McIlroy, who had been harsh critics, did kind of fade out there right before the announcement was made. Though Rory says he didn't know this was going on, and I'll elect to believe him for now. But we now know why the PGA Tour was not talking so much about the LIV Tour. And the answer is because the LIV Tour said, hey, if you want our millions of dollars, you got to stop. Stop saying nasty things about us. And the PGA Tour did. They also requested the PGA Tour for the LIV Tour to stop taking their golfers. Of course they did, right? Of course they did. Demand number two, cooperation and joint governments of the game of golf on equal footing basis. This includes establishment of a mutually respectful partnership, including cross-ownership of media rights with the PGA and LIV joint venture going forward, governance agreements as to players' right, tournament schedules, and co-sanctioned events, and to, quote, harmonize the complementary PGA LIV Tour scheduling of events throughout the season on equal footing, such that LIV is not tacked on as an afterthought during silly season, the off season. The slow season, I should say. So they want a couple of things. Number one, LIV Tour wants to have camera time at least close to equivalent of the PGA Tour. Number two, LIV Tour wants to be able to say, when it comes to the tournaments, we want to say on how they're run. We want to say on how it's all orchestrated, specifically in regards to the players. And number three, We are going to all sit down at the table and we are going to come up with a scheduling concept that is mutually beneficial to both. You are not going to start waiting and jumping on tournaments that just happen to be on the same weekend as our big tournaments. When we have a Live Tour Championship, you're not going to suddenly move one of your second-tier events into that time slot just to take eyeballs off of us, and PGA has agreed to that. Live golfers have to have full PGA Tour playing status rights restored. This one's interesting to me. Why? That one, I don't know why you'd want if you're Live Tour, right? I don't know why you'd want that. You want the guys to stay on your tour. Them being able to go back to the PGA Tour is not good for you. You're going to have guys jumping back and forth. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Live Tour golfers to receive official world golf ranking points, including retrospectively for 22-23 and 23-24. Of course they do, right? The Live Tour can only boast about having the best golfers in the world if they can put points on the board. Hey, Brooks is every bit as good as Rahm. And we can prove it because here's their points, right? Now, I find this one interesting because how do you score on equal footing the 4-round events of the PGA Tour versus the 3-round events of the Live Tour? Do they have equal weight? Do they have different weight? How's that work out? We'll have to find out. Live golfers are to have unfettered access to majors, including the PGA Championship, as per normal qualifying criteria. Yeah, you want your guys out there playing their guys during the 4 tournaments that are the biggest in the world. And finally, Live golfers to have full Ryder and President's Cup rights restored. Of course, again, same reason. The majors and broadcasting partners are fully supportive of a settlement to ensure that the best golfers are competing against each other across marquee events in the majors. Similarly, Tour and Live players are pushing for a compromise agreement that supports all stakeholders and puts an end to divisive arguments that benefit no stakeholders, end quote. So that's what the Live Tour is demanding for this, or did demand for this deal to go through, which inherently means, obviously, that these are the demands that the PGA Tour has agreed with so far. I'm intrigued. I'm interested. You know, ordinarily, I would agree with the majority of the texters who are sending in various compilations of DC bad, politicians bad, don't involve them. 90% of the time I agree. Although I've always had kind of the opinion that, like, I'm actually okay with DC getting involved because if they're sitting here having a meeting on Capitol Hill, Lonzo, you know what they're not doing? Screwing everything else up. Yeah, no, you don't talk about baseball.
Yeah.
Definitely just talk. That's fine. Long as you need to talk about baseball.
I guess that's a positive way to look at it.
That's the silver lining view of it. Now, I am going to say I'm fine with this one. And I'm fine with this one, not because I want DC up in my sports. I'm fine with this one because of the fact that one party is quite literally a direct report to the head of a hostile foreign nation, right? Like, this isn't Michael Jordan selling the Hawks to another American owner and Congress got involved. This is Saudi Arabia. Those of you who pay attention to geopolitical developments know that we don't super get along with them, right? Now, all of a sudden, they have got their tentacles all wrapped up on one of the 6th most influential sports in America. And we all know the purpose of all of this was what? To better the image of Saudi Arabia by going, hey, guys, we know you don't like us, but, like, look at this fun thing that we're doing for you, right? At its core, that's what this whole sports washing thing is about. If there's somebody at work that you had a real disagreement with, maybe you left work that day and you went, you know, I don't think I like John. I think John's a jerk. John sucks, right? And then you show up the next day and John walks into your cubicle and goes, hey, dude, sorry about yesterday. I did your next 3 projects for you. You take the rest of the day off. You might go, hey, John's not that bad. John's not that bad, while you're sipping your margarita during a work hour. John's an all right guy. That's what they're doing, right? And so the thing is, it's kind of working a little bit. It is. So Congress is going, all right, hold up. Before we let the Saudis get over-invested in our game and effectively establish a foothold amongst a major demographic of influential people within the United States, maybe we just take a little looky poo. Maybe we take a little looky poo at the contract, find out how this came about. Because remember, the PGA Tour hated these people, and now they're buddy hugging it out. Maybe we find out why. So I actually don't have a problem with Vegas getting involved here. All right, one more story before we run to a break. Going to do a lot of Hornets and Panthers on the show tomorrow, but I do want to get to this while we're talking about that. With all of the drama going on right now with Saudi Arabia. And by the way, this is not the first time that this has happened. European soccer had a big problem with this at one point. They had Russian oligarchs, oil barons, warlords, who were buying majority stake ownership in European Premier League teams. Like, for instance, my team, Chelsea, at one point, was owned by a Russian oligarch. Eventually, Chelsea, via the British government, had to divest themselves from that individual who was no longer affiliated with the team. So it's not the first time it happened, but it has not happened that often, or really to near the level of the Live Tour in the United States of America. And reasonably, rightfully, and logically so, when this whole thing happened, a lot of us went, wait a minute, hold up here. Why are we letting the Saudis get involved? And again, at least I believe, is all I can say is I believe, they did it in order to boost their image amongst sports fans, a very influential group in America. Well, it's working. And so that is leading to other entities looking into potentially doing the same. Other entities also looking and go, maybe I can get in on this game, right? Well, Adam Silver has now said, nah, bro, we're not doing that. The NBA has said that as of right now, there is, quote, no path forward in the foreseeable future, end quote, for sovereign wealth funds to become the controlling owners of an NBA franchise. He said, quote, I don't want to say that could never happen, but there's no contemplation right now. I mean, it's very important to us, putting aside sovereign wealth funds, that individuals are in a position to control our teams, be responsible to fans, be responsible to their partners and the players. It's very important to us that there be a person in charge, and this is independent of sovereign wealth funds. I think that in terms of the connection with the community, the connection with the players and their other partners in the league, end quote. They are keeping a look at Qatar. They have a sovereign wealth fund that purchased a 5% stake in the Washington Wizards, the Mystics, and the Caps. We know the Live Tour PGA Tour merger we just talked about. They are looking at the fact that the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns, two teams in the NBA, have both exceeded the previous records for franchise valuations in their recent sales, and there are foreign entities looking into buying. Now, I think you can say that this is not xenophobic. You want to be very careful, right? You want to make sure that you don't have Russian oligarchs getting involved and then taking money out of that game and putting it towards the Russian industrial machine. You want to make sure that Saudi Arabia and their decades of human rights violations are not utilizing the NBA to try to clean up their image across the states. I think this is the right move here from the NBA. Now, are they making this move because they're looking at how nasty the PGA Live Tour reaction has been? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't know. But I'm going to give a little bit of credit for doing the right thing, even if you're only doing the right thing because you'll watch somebody else do the wrong thing and get thrown against the wall for it. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap this bad boy up. My name is Rob Brown. Lonzo's on the ones and twos. And ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. For those of you on the stream, and I'm asking this question, Lonzo, you included, are those segments too boring for radio? It's a genuine question. Are those segments too boring for the radio? And the reason I ask is we got a handful of text about it, but I also watched our streaming number drop in half over the course of that segment.
Stream usually drops at a certain time every day, but yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'm asking for your opinion. Like your honest opinion.
I know he's yawning, but I'm not sleeping well. Has nothing to do with that. There are going to be things that I'm not interested in. That doesn't mean that they're not good. Just means that I'm not interested.
Right.
And I'm not saying I wasn't interested in that segment. I'm just saying there are some things. I am never going to talk just because, my voice hasn't been heard in a while. I have a personal quota. I got to make sure that at least my voice is heard.
Of course.
Once every, I believe on the stream there were comments about what you were talking about, which means that there was interest in what you're talking about.
I think it's. I wonder if. I wonder if
there's never going to
there's
be
a
somebody
smaller-
that goes, man, everything he talks about, I just
for sure,
everything.
for sure. But I also understand that topic is. It's not on the field athletic competition related. It involves amounts of money that most of us can't comprehend and therefore usually tune out.
I'm willing to try though.
And there's also, yeah, for sure. And there's also quite a bit, like it or not, that's one of those spaces where those Venn diagrams of sports and politics overlap a little bit. You cannot not bring that up in this discussion. So I kind of feel like there is a smaller group of the normal listening audience that's interested in that, but the smaller group that is interested is very interested, right? Like there's less people interested, but the ones that are interested are more intensely interested. And I just wonder if that's good or bad for the show.
Are the smaller portion of people that are very interested more apt to buy advertising dollars?
I don't know.
I'm with you, Trey, and I think disc golf is probably a little more difficult than regular golf. You can't just jump right into disc golf. You can jump into
You
golf.
can, you just won't be good at it.
The people who are really good at disc golf are amazing.
So I looked up tickets because I was wondering what's going to be going on in Charlotte when I'm over there next week. On Tuesday night, which is the first night I will be there. Blink 182 is playing a show at Bank of America.
I think we're just advertising that or something.
Probably.
Which means maybe there's some availability. And
that's what I'm going to ask because I looked up tickets just a minute ago. To sit in the 200, oh, sorry, it's at the Spectrum. It's not a BOA. It's at Spectrum.
That's even better because it's inside. That means it won't be as hot.
Yeah. Do I want to go see Blink 182?
Spectrum is where the basketball is.
Yes.
Okay. I was making sure that was right.
Do I want to go see Blink 182, Lonzo, and sit? Stage faces that way. It's an open pit stage, but it faces that way. Back here for $75 based on Ticketmaster. So for $100, sit back into the right of the stage to watch Blink 182 play the other direction. Do I want to do that? Because if you want to sit on the side of the stage,
name me 3 Blink 182 hits right now.
Damn it, what's my name again? All the small things.
Then yes, you should.
$100 to look at their asses the whole time. Because if you
I don't know if I'd have phrased it that way.
That's what it is. If you want to sit anywhere on the floor, you're not anywhere on the floor for less than $350. I'm not doing that. If you want to sit up in the 200 section, if you want to be on the side of the stage, you're looking at $225 minimum. I can't do $225 for a band that's 30 years plus old. I'll ask you guys. I'm a big believer if you get the chance to make a memory, make the memory, even if it costs you a little bit, right? I'm a big believer in that. If you have the chance to make a memory, make the memory. You'll always look back and you will be more glad that you made the memory than you were to save the little bit of money that you saved by not making the memory. So next week, I will be broadcasting all 3 days live from the ACC Media Days in Charlotte, North Carolina. And on the first night that I am there, or excuse me, the night before, I think the night before I get there, Blink 182 will be playing a concert in Charlotte. And my question is, I can buy a ticket for $75 plus Ticketmaster fee, so $100. That is back into the right of the stage. I will be literally looking at Tom's butt while he plays guitar the whole time. If you want to sit on the side of the stage, you're looking at $200+. If you want to sit facing the stage, you're looking at $300. Am I spending $75 to watch the backside of Blink 182, a band that I grew up loving, or do I just pass on that and do something else?
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
You talk to the people downstairs who probably have some tickets, and you pay nothing
I'm
because
sending an email now.
you are Rob Brown.
I'm sending an
I mean,
email.
that's how that works.
Roy.
That's why you try to stay on Roy's good side. Time for Twitter trending topics.
Roy's a nice guy. I'm staying on Roy's good side because he's a nice guy, but the tickets don't hurt.
Like I said, stay on his good side. All right, the first thing that's trending is Chris Berman.
Berman's trending. One of three things. He's not dead, so I'm going to take that off the list. And unless we're all making fun of that time that he dyed his hair platinum blonde again, I'm going to go with Boomer's having a birthday, and Boomer is turning 68.
No, he's trending because people are missing him on the call for the home run derby.
Back, gone.
The call was not excitable, I guess. I mean, if you need that sort of thing.
Two things. Number one, I said Berman was 68. That is exactly how old he is. Hashtag nailed it. Second off, I honestly, if I'm being real with you, the home run derby is probably the only thing that I truly miss Chris Berman on. Right? Berman does all right on the 2-minute drill. It didn't really kill me as a Sports Center anchor. As a football play-by-play guy, he's okay. The only thing I truly miss Boomer on is back, gone.
All right, the next thing is trending, and it's blown up Twitter, at least mine, but, mine goes a certain direction. Not what you think either. Activision Blizzard is trending right now.
I'm just going to let you tell me that.
Okay, Microsoft has won their case in American court, and now they're going to be able to acquire Activision Blizzard.
Okay.
Which means Game Pass.
I'm here for that. Yes. However, Microsoft the last handful of years doesn't have a wonderful track record of putting out top-notch games. The question here is, does Activision Blizzard make Microsoft better, or does Microsoft make Activision Blizzard worse? I hope it's the first.
All I know is that Activision Blizzard, a lot of games that I've had to purchase will now be on Game Pass.
Okay.
I'll feel bad about some that I already bought, but then I could say, hey, Rob, I know you haven't tried Diablo yet. You don't have to pay $70 for it. It's on Game Pass.
Do I wait or do I just buy it now? Because I'm not going to lie. This weekend, get ready for Charlotte next week. I'm doing nothing this. No, I'm not going to baby shower. Never mind. Can't play Diablo this weekend.
Yeah, I don't know. I tried to hold out, but then stupid Sony got in the way and said, no, it's a monopoly. Anyway, all right. The next thing that's trending is D-Hop.
So the question is, where's DeAndre Hopkins going to sign? DeAndre Hopkins. Good Lord. DeAndre. Where's DeAndre Hopkins going to sign? The teams that seem to be front runners right now are the Patriots and the Titans. I don't think it's going to be the Titans because they are bad at football. And I don't think Hopkins wants to play for a team that's not at least going to be a threat for a contender. I did see New England's over-under win total is set at 7.5 right now, and there are a lot of bets coming in on the over, leading people to think that maybe they could compete for a wild card this year.
All right. Here's the
D-Hop, come to Carolina.
here's
dog.
here's the major speculation is that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to restructure a Chris Jones contract, have a ton of money to throw at DeAndre Hopkins.
That's just unfair, bro. That's just unfair.
Don't you disrespect me.
That's just unfair. That's just unfair. Texas said, Rob, I saw Blink in Greenville a couple of years ago, -1 original member for a fraction of the cost. I love the show, and if you need someone to go with, I'm probably available. I don't know if I'm going. I'd really like to. I hope so. I'm going to take a look at it. We'll find out. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Don't trigger dive. I'll punch you in the face. See you back here tomorrow for another edition of the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Hub. Stay later. Yeah. Buckle up.
We need a closer.
We do need a closer. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I am the closer right now.
Right. But playing that liner coming out doesn't work
Right.
after you. I mean, I guess I could just go straight into the break. I know we're trying to figure this out, nearly 3 years in, but, we pace ourselves.
We do. You want to get it right before you get it, Dudes, dudettes, boys, girls, children of all ages, thanks for hanging out. You're all spectacular people. If you enjoy the show, please tell your friends about it and come back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. Have a lovely rest of your day. Goodbye.
Try to place my head so the Furman points were coming out of my ears. I did it.
Sideways horns.
Yeah. Well,